Welcome to another deadline stream, the last one that we have until the World Cup, and then we've got a bit of a break. We will be doing some World Cup fantasy content, both videos and live streams, and as you can see in the poll, those are my transfer plans. I am looking to make a move up front. Mitrovic is ruled out by Marco Silva, and we talked about this over the last few days, and also Callum Wilson is a heavy doubt due to illness against Chelsea. And apart from those kind of queries, we also have the question about Cancelo's suspension. Of course, he will be available. His suspension has already been served in the Carabao Cup. And as for Erling Haaland, is he going to start Sim with Foden? It looks like he will, but we don't have any official confirmation just yet. So let's just wait and see. But it does seem like they are going to start. And either way, I was kind of predicting Haaland to start anyway. I mean, let's wait and see. That's what I would definitely recommend first, and then we can talk about it more so later on. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm going to try something a bit different in this stream today. Let me know if you like it. But yeah, we're going to test it out first and see how it goes. And if you end up enjoying this video, you know what to do. Give it a like. Let's try to get this to over 300. And we're also looking to push on towards 17,000 subscribers. So I'm going to go through your questions now. And I haven't made any transfers just yet, so be aware of that. The transfer plans are in the poll. Welcome, Nabil. You ask Fabianski or Ward in goal. Out of those two, I think I would go for Ward. Leicester are the better team at the moment, so I would favour Ward. But yeah, this is one of the kind of new features I want to bring in. If possible, let me know if you like it, if I highlight some messages. It won't be every single one, because literally sometimes there are thousands of messages coming in, sometimes hundreds at the same time. So just something to test out. Let me know if you like it, but that is my answer to that question. I have 2 free transfers, Mitrovic out and Wilson flagged with 1.4 million in the bank. Thoughts? I would get rid of Mitrovic if you can. Obviously, with Wilson with 1.4 million, what could you really do with that? Depends when you bought Wilson. So if you bought him in at 7.4, 7.5, you'd still be priced out of Nunez, actually. So really what I'd look to do with that is get rid of Mitrovic, because Wilson still could play and you can't get to Nunez anyway. So I would definitely recommend going for someone like Firmino, Jesus, or maybe even Martial, Nabil. So that is the answer to your question as well. Trippier or Dyer, Perisic for a -4, says Aiden. If so, who? I would not get rid of Trippier. If anything, do Dyer to Perisic, but for a -4, it's not worth it, Aiden, in my opinion. Start 2, Trippier, Dyer, or Nico Williams. I would go for Trippier and probably Dyer, but I definitely wouldn't take a -4. Welcome, Suraj, is everything. Foden and Haaland starts. I'm getting this question quite a lot already. In my opinion, Haaland starts. And as for Foden, I'm less confident based on what we've seen in the last few weeks, but that's also what I think. There was kind of like a video out, I think, earlier today, which says that both of them start. And look, let's just wait and see what the kind of reliable sources say first off, but I think it looks like they are going to start. Let's just wait and see, though, because I don't want to give wrong information. And of course, it's all just hypothetical. Good to see you, Laga. Another deadline stream ahead. Yes, the last one for now, up until Boxing Day, really. Yeah, by the way, any spamming, I'm sorry, you're going to be timed out or, basically banned, so no point doing it. Welcome, Suryanch. Who would you suggest I replace Tony with? Depends on your budget. Nunez would be my favourite if you can stretch to him, but I also like the likes of Jesus, Firmino, and Martial this week. I like them a lot. My only doubt with Martial is if Ronaldo is back available. He was ill on Thursday, but Ten Hag said it wasn't anything too serious, so that would be my thoughts on it. The best goalkeeper for this week, says Georgie. Good question. I think it's down to a few names. Alisson, Edison, and then I'd probably look towards... That's a tough question. I'm trying to think of like a budget goalkeeper. I mean, Ramsdale's also pretty good for me. I think he's got a good chance of a clean sheet. Anyone else, really? I think those are the best ones for me. So, yeah, I'm not as confident in the cheaper options, so to speak. Is Foden playing? We just literally covered it. Like I said, in my opinion, he is going to play, but wait for official confirmation or from reliable sources. But apparently, there was a video earlier of someone who's kind of linked to the person who leaks the news, and he said Foden and Haaland are playing, but I'm not so sure yet. So take it with a pinch of salt, but I think he will. I'm definitely more confident about Haaland. Hi, Dylan. Start Gay or Webster? Welcome, Tech. I would probably start Gay out of those two. It's a difficult one. Ain says, don't think Ronaldo plays with the World Cup coming up. Yeah, to be fair, he doesn't really strike me as someone who, would kind of sacrifice a week. I think he just wants to play as much as possible, especially given his circumstances this season. I do get your point, though. You could be right. And that could be the reason behind him not starting or being featured at all in the Carabao Cup the other day. Bowen to Tielemans. I think Tielemans is a great player, but I wouldn't go for him. If anything, I'd go for Maddison or even Harvey Barnes. I don't think Tielemans is the best option, in my opinion. Thank you, Suryanch. Thoughts on K-Mag on pole? I mean, I'm happy with it. I have him in my F1 fantasy team, but the only issue with it is that he's going to probably lose a lot of places and he'll lose points as a result, but hopefully he can have a respectable finish. But yeah, great question. Thank you very much for that. Start 1, Dyer Trippier. It's Trippier all day long for me. I know Dyer's got the better chance of a clean sheet, but Trippier for me has so many assets and so many ways of getting points. I think it's a simple one, really. I think it's Trippier all day long. He hasn't blanked at home. I know he's facing Chelsea, but I think Newcastle. My prediction is 2-0, 3-0 Newcastle, so I probably would start Trippier. Garnacho for Longstaff. Garnacho looked really impressive the other day against Aston Villa, but he's not my favourite United asset. I would rather go for Rashford or Martial if he starts. Garnacho could be a really good punt, but you'd mainly rely on the assists rather than the goal scoring from him. Now watch him go score, of course, but that's kind of my take on it. Nunez or Firmino? My take on that one is Nunez at the moment. He's got the best stats per 90 of any player, really, especially amongst forwards in the last few. But yeah, Firmino is someone I really like, and what I think is better with Firmino than Nunez is the high ceiling. But I'd go for Nunez at this moment in time. And if I could do Wilson, or should I say Mitrovic to Nunez straight up, I would do it right now. I would have done it already, I think. Welcome, Ryan. 2 free transfers, Martial plus Robbo or Trent and Eze. Martial and Robertson looks better to me. Eze is a quality player, but I think Martial and Robertson, should they both start, and I think Robertson will, with Martial, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I think that's the better duo, so that's my kind of take on it. If Haaland starts, Mitrovic plus Alvarez to Haaland and Greenwood bench, or Mitrovic to Darwin and Salah captain. One is a bit more risky than the other, while the other is a lot more boring safe. Oof, that's a tough one. I'd probably go for Darwin and Salah captain. That is my favourite of the two. Yeah, that would be my preference. Although Haaland captain and Greenwood bench isn't too shabby, but yeah, I think I'd go for the Salah Nunez one. I know it sounds really crazy, and Haaland for me is the best captaincy option this week, but I think you cover it really well with the 2 Liverpool assets. I think Firmino will play 90 minutes. Darwin has a World Cup, so maybe subbed off early. Yes, and also Firmino might have a point to prove after being left out of the Brazil squad, which was quite surprising. Play Anderson or Dunk? I'd play Anderson. I think he has the better chance of a clean sheet. De Bruyne or Foden, if both start, De Bruyne all day long for me. I think De Bruyne is the 3rd or 4th best captaincy option this week. -4 for KDB to Salah, not for me. I wouldn't get rid of any of these players, Haaland, KDB or Salah, especially for a -4 hit this week. You know, for free, fair enough, you could do KDB to facilitate Haaland up front or go to Salah, but not for a -4, no chance. Hey Dylan, Gay or Castagna, who to start? I'd go for Gay. You cover different defences. Gay's facing Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace have only kept 3 clean sheets, or was it 4 clean sheets this season, but I'd go for Gay. Thoughts on bringing in Emerson, Real, and Solanke for Justin and Solanke for free? I'm not sure which player you're bringing in for Solanke, by the way, because you said Solanke twice. But as for Emerson, Real, in for Justin, better chance of a clean sheet. I can see why you're doing it, but at the same time, I'm not that confident of a Spurs clean sheet, I'll be honest with you. Kane or Nunez? I'd still go for Kane out of the two, I have to say. Zaha or Jesus? I would go for Zaha this week out of those two. Almiron to Reed and Mitrovic to Solanke for a -4? Not for me. Reed is just someone to sit on your bench, so if Reed is supposed to start for you, no chance. I wouldn't do that. Thank you, Marco. I appreciate it. I was kind of looking into this for some time, but I finally found a solution because it's kind of more difficult with my software and my computer. But I think it's looking good so far. Let's keep on testing and see how it goes. Obviously, some people will then spam the chat even more so, which obviously I don't want to promote, but hopefully it kind of mitigates, you know, repeated questions after I've answered them. But let's wait and see. Jesus for Gameweek 16, I like him. He's not my favourite forward. I would say Kane, Haaland, Nunez, Firmino even could be better options. But yeah, I'd probably go for... I think Jesus is a good option. If you don't have a triple up in Arsenal already, looks fine to me. It's actually manual, Marco. All I have to do, though, is click on a message. That's really it, but it's all set up. Almiron or Andreas? It's Almiron all day long, mate. I think you know that. Do you think Alvarez starts as Henry? No, I don't think he does. But once again, probably in the next hour or so, unfortunately, we're going to get leaks and we could also have a site crash. So let's wait and see. If you see anything, by the way, from a reliable source, put it in the chat and we'll try to get it up on screen. Ditya says 5-4-1 with Nico or 4-5-1 with Andreas. My free transfer this week was Gay to Perisic as I was 0.1 million short of Nunez. Yeah, that is frustrating. I would rather do 4-5-1 with Andreas, even against United. De Bruyne and Kane, or Foden and Haaland and Kane. I'd rather do Foden and Haaland and Kane out of those lot. Assuming Foden starts, though, Hezron, sorry. Play White or Webster and Gaeta or Ward. I'd play White, and out of the two goalkeepers, Savio, I would probably go for... Yeah, Gaeta. Yeah, that's what I would do. Estupinian or Wilson? Wilson. I'd still go for Wilson, because I think he either starts or he just doesn't play at all. Good week to bench boost, says John. Not this week. Obviously, it's all circumstantial. Your team might suggest something else, but I would wait for a double game week later on in the season. Right now, I'd keep the bench boost, which is quite an overrated chip anyway. Or basically, you can use it whenever you see a lot of good fixtures on your bench, but right now, not for me. Share or Trossard to start? Trossard, yeah, I wouldn't bench Trossard at all. No chance. Perisic or Gay? Perisic obviously has the attacking threat. He's been playing up front in the last 2 games. I don't think that'll be the case yet again this weekend, especially with Richarlison and Kulusevski back available. But I think I'd still go for Perisic. I answered that question, Michael, already. I literally featured it as well. I'd go for Wilson. Grealish to Trossard, free transfer? Yes, I probably would. Grealish is a quality player. He helps City tick, but he's not a good FPL asset. Mitrovic to Nunez for free? Yes, Jeff. I honestly, like I said, I would have done the same thing if I could afford it. I'm 0.2 million or now 0.3 million short, unfortunately. Definitely, I think it's a good transfer. Would you take a hit to sell Bernardo Silva for Maddison? Would I take a hit? I don't think so, because I think Bernardo Silva has a good haul in him this week. Mitoma or Elise? Mitoma was quality. I went to the game the other day. He obviously scored a really good goal. He's really impressive. I'd expect him to start again for Brighton. I'm not so sure about him long term, but we only have to think about this week. I'd go for Mitoma. Hi, Dylan. Mitrovic to Nunez. Yeah, I think it's very simple. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. Andreas to Maddison. Honestly, I'd go for it. Looks really good. Hey, Dylan, would you start Gay, Andreas, or Doherty? I would go for Gay. Who would you rather have as vice-captain, KDB or Harry Kane? Harry Kane, for several reasons. One, he's been more consistent. And two, you're covering a different team. And I'm not a big fan of captaining and vice-captaining players from the same team, just in case something happens. So Harry Kane would be my answer. Thoughts on a Neil Maupay punt? Honestly, no. I haven't seen enough from Everton offensively to really advocate for that. So I would probably steer clear from him. I'd even rather go for Solanke. Obviously, if you have a good feeling about it, go for it. But I'm not feeling it myself. I wouldn't go for it personally. Sell Cucurella for a -4 or play Nico Williams? I would just play Nico Williams. It depends though, because if you're starting Cucurella in this situation, I'm not expecting a clean sheet. If anything, I expect Chelsea to concede 2 or 3. So it's a difficult one. But getting rid of a defender for a -4, it rarely pays off for 1 week. I probably wouldn't do that. Are you fully convinced on Darwin? Not fully convinced, Marco, but in terms of 1 week punts, the underlying numbers are there. He has been impressive recently in the Champions League and Premier League. I think there's a lot to like there. No problem, Jeff. Thank you very much. Should I get Darwin on free transfer or take a -4 and get Salah? I would... That's a tough one because it depends which players you're bringing out. Firas. Yeah, so I like the idea of both of them. Salah is my preference, but for a -4 hit, really depends on who you get rid of. So let me know. Haaland for Wilson, yeah, I would do it. Even with the possibility of Wilson starting, that's such a big upgrade, and you want to go for Haaland this week. Let's see what else we have. Ward with Trippier or Pope with Trippier? No, I'd go for Pope and Trippier. I think it's a close one. It's basically between Ward and Pope. Of course, in your situation, it's completely up to you. I think both Leicester and Newcastle can keep a clean sheet this week, but Newcastle still offer me a bit more security defensively, and I think I would go for Pope, but it's completely up to you. I don't think there's anything wrong with going for Ward, like I talked about in my team selection. Would you start Almiron or Perisic? I'd go for Almiron. There's no way I'd bench the most informed player in the Premier League, and I don't really expect a clean sheet for Spurs, so that's how I'd go about it. Foden out. I'd actually keep him for now, and if we get confirmation of him being benched, then yes, I would get rid of him. Otherwise, no. Hey Dylan, is it coming home? You never know in football, but I don't think so. I don't think England are winning the World Cup. Obviously, let me know if you disagree. I'm guessing you disagree, but let's see what the others think. Firmino or Nunez? Nunez for me. Better underlying numbers. Obviously, they're quite similar over the season, but Firmino has played more minutes. It's a close one, I have to say. Firmino, what I like about him, like I said earlier, is his high ceiling. Nunez hasn't got a double-digit return so far in his Premier League career. However, I have a good feeling about Nunez, and I think he could score a brace or something like that this week. More so than Firmino, but it's a really close one, I have to say. Nunez is my preference, though. Dalot to Akanji, I don't have Cancelo. I think that's a good transfer. Of course, you can always bring Dalot back in on unlimited. Looks good to me. I'm not sure I'm again the Man City lineup, WK. Good morning, Dylan. Hope you're doing well and looking forward to the World Cup. Yes, I think most of us are at this point, unless you're doing really well in FPL and you don't want, the kind of momentum being disrupted. Rashford in? Yes, I think Rashford in is a good transfer. It depends who you get rid of, as always, but good transfer, and he looked really good on Thursday. Do you favour Salah over KDB for this game week? I consider doing KDB to Salah for free. I do favour him, Lager. Obviously, I'd still be uneasy about getting rid of one for the other, but I do like it. Thank you, Soldier Boy. I'm doing well. What about you? Thank you very much for asking. Start Pope or Ward. I am going for Pope. You can see it on screen. So that's kind of my own opinion. Obviously, maybe the messages are kind of covering up Ward there on the bench. But yeah, I'm going for Pope at the moment. If Foden is bench, Saka or Kulusevski? Kulusevski has the better fixture on paper, but I think I'd still go for Saka. I'm not so sure how many minutes Kulusevski's going to get. You've also got Richarlison back, and Spurs have a few different options. Even Perisic could be played on the left wing, for example, then move Richarlison to the right, just in case. Kulusevski might still have injury problems, so it's going to be a risk. Depends what you want to do with that, but I'd go for Saka. We need to think about how Southampton new manager bounce, and maybe not double, triple up, or just play the fixture, as it won't have an effect. The thing is, though, yes, we typically have like a manager bounce, even if it's for only a game or two, but I just don't see Southampton getting a result here, honestly. I think Liverpool will win. Their recent record at Anfield against Southampton is incredible. Yes, new manager. We don't know what's going to be the case here, but Liverpool, I think, will get the win. And if it wasn't at Anfield, fair enough, I completely agree with you, Marco. I probably would just stick with one Liverpool asset, but for free? 2 or 3, yeah, I'd still go for 2. 3 might be a tad too much, but at home, I have to say, it looks good to me. Thank you, Marius, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Justin plus Wilson to Konate and Darwin via -4. Good luck, Dylan. I actually like those transfers a lot. I mentioned Konate as one of my favourite sub 5 million defenders, and Darwin Nunez is probably the 4th best forward this week, or I'm trying to think here. Yeah, 4th best, probably behind Kane, Haaland, and, well, maybe he's just 3rd, actually. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it. But yes, I think that hit looks good. And the only concern is if Wilson starts, because I think he has a really good chance of a return here. Really, really close one. But thank you very much for the super chat, mate. And I think the transfers are really good, so hopefully it pays off for you. Are you considering Mitrovic to Jesus? I can't do it because I've already got 3 Arsenal players. Obviously, it might look a bit weird here because I've got the away kits extension. So I've got White, Martinelli and Saka. If I didn't have that 3rd Arsenal slot, then yes, I would consider it. But I still think I prefer Firmino, actually, oddly enough. And as for the poll, thank you to everyone who voted. We've got actually 47% of you, almost half, going for Wilson to Nunez as the transfer. Tips on Kulusevski. If you have him, I would obviously start him. If I were looking to get in a midfield around his price, I'd probably look elsewhere. If you really are confident of him starting and getting 60, 70 minutes, then he's a really good punt this week, for sure. No doubt about it. But I do prefer others this week, I have to say. Hassan, I prefer Nunez. Would you triple captain on Haaland or wait till they play Bournemouth? I would probably triple captain Haaland later on in the season when he has a double game week or when he has an even better fixture. Bournemouth, he's already played at home. I don't think I'd captain or triple captain Haaland in an away game. I would rather have a home fixture where he tends to get the bulk of his goals and points. Dylan, KDB or Haaland? I have to choose Haaland out of those two, but wait for any potential league lineups and then be sure to have your app ready and the website because it could crash, of course. Raya or Ward start? Ward. Raya's facing Man City. I think Ward's the logical choice. Sell or keep Foden? I would keep for now unless we get news of him being benched. Replace Justin with who? Maybe Konate, Liverpool defender, to cover their clean sheet potentially. Akanji, Stones, they could be good choices. Ben White, I think you've got a few to choose from. Yes, Jeff, I think we will get team news leaks. I'm not so sure exactly when, but I think we will get it quite soon. If Wilson starts, will you keep him? Oh, I'd love to have the information. If Wilson starts, I would keep him, yes. And instead, I would probably do Mitrovic to either Firmino or Martial. Where are the fronts to bring in Nunez? In my case, it would be Wilson. Wilson has to be the one to be sold. I'm not going to sell Haaland, of course. And I can't afford Mitrovic to Nunez, unfortunately, even before the price rise today. Start Ward or Sanchez. I would probably go for... Probably Ward, actually. It's a really close one, though. I don't expect any of them... Well, I'm more confident of a clean sheet for Leicester, actually. With Sanchez, I'm not so sure. Firmino or Jesus, we've covered this a few times already. In my opinion, it would be Firmino, just because of the fixture. I think he has a higher ceiling than Jesus, typically anyway. So that would be my opinion on it. Replace Mount for Zaha or Maddison or Kulusevski better? I'd rather go to Zaha or Maddison. So that would be my take. Kulusevski, obviously really nice one-week punt, but a lot of question marks around him. Konate and Nunez or Trent and Martial Solanke? Close one, Zaid. I probably would go for Konate and Nunez. It's a close one, though. I like Trent and Martial, I have to say. That looks really good to me. If you're confident Martial starting, then maybe go for that. But yeah, Konate and Nunez for me, personally. Pope or Ramsdale? I'd go for Ramsdale this week. Is Haaland starting? We don't have official confirmation, but I think he does. My transfer plans, Roy, are in the poll. All of them are in the poll. Hi, Dylan. Haaland or KDB captain? I talked about this... Wait, let me just get your message up. So I talked about this in the last few videos. So I would rank Haaland first, Salah second, probably Kane third, and De Bruyne fourth in terms of the captaincy rankings. So that is my kind of take on it. Let's see what else we have. Are there any questions that are spammed? I'm sorry, you're not going to be answered. Nunez or Wilson? Nunez, even if Wilson starts. Wilson or Alvarez? I would go for Wilson. I don't think Alvarez starts, and Wilson has a chance. Is Konate starting? It's not completely nailed on, but I think he does. Zaha or Maddison? If you have to choose one for this week, I have Eze. Zaha has the much better fixture, but Maddison is someone I prefer in FPL generally, so it's a close one. I think I would go for Maddison. You know, it's really close though. Thank you, Tony. Start Pope or Ward. You can see the answer pretty much on screen. I'm going for Pope at the moment. It's close, but I am going for him. Need a 5 million defender that's non-Arsenal. Konate, Hill. Or you could go to... I'm not sure what Kanji is. I need to double check that, but check that out. But yeah, Konate would be the easy answer. Mitrovic to Martial. Looks really good to me. The only doubt is if Ronaldo is fully fit and he might start over Martial, but yeah, I think that looks good. Mount to Kulusevski. Once again, as a one-week pun, Eric, looks really good to me, but a lot of question marks about Kulusevski. I do prefer Maddison, Zaha, Saka, Martinelli, and a few other midfielders, but go for it. If you really are confident of it, I would say go for it. Start Castagna or Solanke, says Ferro. I would go for... Castagna's been really good recently, but I'd probably go for Solanke, and if anything, you could go for Ward in goal to cover Leicester. 2 free transfers, says Farhad. Martial, Almiron in for Wilson and Pereira. Or Martial, Jesus in for Wilson, Mitrovic. I would go for Martial and Almiron. It's a close one, but Almiron is in incredible form. I think he will get a good return against Chelsea. I'd go for that. If we get news Haaland is bench, we can assume Alvarez starts, right? Yeah, but it would be his 6th game in a row, 90 minutes in all, false 9. That is also a possibility, Marco, but I think it's really just a case of either Haaland or Alvarez start, and in some cases, both of them do. I don't think Pep will go without a striker at the moment. He might do in a so-called less important game, but with them kind of trailing in the league table, I don't think they will take any chances. I think Haaland will start, but in the case that he is benched, I think Alvarez does start as well. Start Castagna or Cher? I'd go for Castagna out of those two. How can we know if Wilson plays or not? We don't. You just literally have to guess and see what happens, really. Based on Eddie Howe's comments, it's kind of 50-50 because he has been training for the last few days, but at the same time, he's been training separately from the group, which is not that encouraging, actually. And he has been ill enough to be subbed off for half-time against Southampton. Maddison captain. I really like Maddison, and West Ham are in poor form, but West Ham away doesn't really strike me as a fixture where a player typically gets a double-digit return, especially for a team like Leicester, who have improved and they are looking really good, but they are not gunning for the title or something like that, or going for the top 4. I probably wouldn't captain him, but if you really have a good feeling about him, I would say go for it. Always back your gut. I regretted not going for my own gut last week, not literally, of course. It is what it is. Thank you, Logulu. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I appreciate it. My team's looking good, but I did get 300k a red arrow last week. I captained Cancelo. I was one of those people. But thank you. Let me know your team and your situation. Thank you, Singh. I appreciate it. Obviously, just testing out something different and seeing kind of the response to it. Rayam, come on. Try not to spam the chat. I don't want to time you out. I don't want to time anyone out. So just put your question once. I will answer it. I promise. Keep Wilson or sell Firmino or Martial. Can't afford Darwin. Oof. I would probably... Look, Elijah, if you think Wilson starts, I would probably keep him because I think Wilson has a good chance of returning. But if you have any doubts about him starting, and to be honest, I do myself, then I would personally sell for either Firmino or Martial. And my opinion, if I had to choose one option, it would be to sell Wilson probably Firmino, but Martial's looking really good too. And also it depends because for me personally, I've already got Rashford and I'm not that keen on double up in United attack despite their improvements recently. So it's all circumstantial, but I'd probably sell to Firmino. Will Foden play? I think he will, but I'm not as confident as the other question you asked, which is, will Haaland play? I think Haaland will play. I'm less confident Foden, but I also believe that will be the case. Will Konate play 60 minutes? I believe so. Obviously, if you're not that sure about it, then maybe go for someone else, because if you don't think a defender's going to get 60 minutes, then they're pretty much pointless to have in your team, to be honest. Let's just take a little quick break from the questions because we have gone through a lot already. So we'll take a quick break from that, and I'm going to show you a few screens very, very shortly. So let's bring up some here. So as always, we show you the fixture ticker from Fantasy Football Hub, and this is how it looks like for the final game week before the World Cup. Crystal Palace... Wait, what? Am I dumb? Yeah, I think I am dumb. It did refresh. So let me sort this out. Crystal Palace are not top, despite them facing Nottingham Forest. It's Liverpool at home to Southampton. Then we've got Spurs second against Leeds. I think that might be a bit overstated because Leeds have been really impressive recently, and they have also taken it to the really biggest teams in the country. Arsenal, Liverpool, they even beat at Anfield, and Chelsea. You also got Bournemouth, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Man City, all up there. And actually, in terms of like the worst teams, in terms of the fixture ticker, you've got Chelsea, Leicester, Villa, Leeds, Southampton, and Brentford, who obviously bottom against City. I do agree with that. But there you go. So apparently, according to Fantasy Football Hub, the teams to really target are Liverpool, Spurs, potentially Bournemouth or Solanke, West Ham and Forest. I think the West Ham-Leicester fixture, I would actually say Leicester are the favourites in that game at the moment, considering the form of both teams. So getting up the predicted points, actually. So I actually completely agree with the top four. This is literally my captaincy ranking. Haaland first, Salah second, Kane third, and De Bruyne fourth. And you could easily switch 3 and 4. They're literally separated by 0.1 predicted points. Then you've got Trent, Cancelo, Martial, Bernardo, Fernandes and Rashford. So the algorithm is really favouring these United assets as well, assuming that Martial starts here, of course. My concern with Martial is the minutes all season. He did actually, I think he played the full 90 on Thursday. I would have rather he played 60, 70. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, by the way. But with Martial, he hasn't had a single start, I believe, in the Premier League this season. So that obviously would be a bit off-putting. In terms of price rises and stuff, okay, so let's actually make this very clear. So I think you are able to gain a bit of advantage in terms of price rises from today. But after today, you won't, because the prices will be locked completely. So you could maybe get in on the likes of Ben White, for example, and build your team value a little bit. But after that, it's going to be completely frozen, and you can literally just stay off FPL for quite some time during the World Cup. And in terms of injury news, there was kind of a little update on Callum Wilson. I'm not so sure if this is actually completely true. So Premier Injuries really reliable. They kind of just compile all the notes and stuff from the press conferences, and they say with Callum Wilson, he's at 100% status, and we'll wait and see. He has been training separately from the group. He had an illness. He's trained well, but we'll make a decision ahead of tomorrow. So that was Eddie Howe's comments. Very mixed bag. And if anything, if you had to lean towards one way or another, it's kind of a bit more likely he does start. But honestly, we have no idea of knowing for sure. And it's going to be anyone's guess about Callum Wilson this week. And then in terms of the final screen I want to show you, it's a comparison between two of my transfer targets, Darwin Núñez and Firmino. And it's really close. I talked about this in my team selection video. And look at that. It's, the stats are identical. The only thing that really separates them is goals and assists. Firmino has 9 GA and Núñez only has 5. But then again, Firmino's got 3 more games played. But look at the shots in the box. Exactly the same. Shots as well. identical. XG, everything you can really name on it. Big chances. So quite interesting to see. And like I said, what I like about Firmino is his big hauls in him. So he's got a 12 pointer already this season, a 22 pointer. You know, something like that could really kickstart your season here or start a comeback for you. So I have to say it's a close one between these two, but stats per 90, Darwin Núñez is definitely the favourite, and he is going to be the favourite this week in terms of transfers in and people looking for a 1 week punt. So that's all covered. And obviously we have predicted lineups as well and stuff like that. We might even get a team news within the next hour or so, but we're going to focus on my team and back to your questions right now. And obviously let's take a quick look at the fixtures as well. And as you can see, the early kickoff is Man City Brentford. They need to stop doing these early kickoffs with Man City because it literally just causes the service to crash when we get the early team news. And as you can see, 8 games today, all, you know, action packed, and then tomorrow just the 2 games, and maybe a bit underwhelming, you could say, for the final day before the World Cup. But there you go. Still some good games this weekend. Hopefully there's another green arrow for all of us. I say another, maybe not for me. So let's now go back to your questions. Darwin and Firmino both likely to start. Yes, Marco. So in terms of the predicted lineups, according to Emma, that we have covered in these streams and stuff recently, both of them are at 100% to start. Obviously, that's just a predicted lineup, which is compiled by a lot of predictions, but that would be my guess as well. I think both of them will start, just like against Spurs as well. Wilson to Jesus, that's not a bad transfer, to be honest, mate. I do like it, but it's a close one, really, for me, because I prefer Wilson if he actually starts, to be honest. It's a close one. I'd probably go ahead with it, Joe. For this week only, do you think Maddison's better than Zaha? Yeah, we covered this already, Twan, earlier. So have Eze, should I split it all in Crystal Palace? Literally, if you have a good feeling about Palace against Forest, go for Zaha. He's got the better fixture. Maddison is going to have a more tougher game on his hands against West Ham. So it's completely up to you. But I have to say, Maddison is my favourite of the two FPL-wise in general. And you've already got Eze. But if you really fancy Crystal Palace, go for it. Go for Zaha and keep it simple. Never trust the first game. Yeah, that is true. Early kickoffs, I mean, what can I say? I captained Cancelo last time out, and look what happened. Jesus or Firmino in for Mitrovic? I would go for Firmino, actually, from those two. That's my personal opinion. Think a bit harsh. Arsenal being grey and West Ham being red is generous. Yeah, I think so. Based on this season so far, Wolves should probably like a blue on that, really. So maybe not like top 3, but should be in the top 5 or 6, you know, from that fixture ticket. I do agree with you, Marco. What was the news about Edouard? We can cover that, actually. So I wasn't actually aware of the Edouard updates because obviously he has been injured now for a week or 2. So if we go back to Premier Injuries, and I can put the link, by the way, if you want, to this website. So this is the latest update, which was provided 8 days ago. Edouard will do a little bit more training with the team tomorrow and we'll make a decision after training. So it's all down to a late fitness test and basically it's 50-50. It looks like he's at 50% status. Let's wait and see what happens there. But even with Edouard, even if he's fully fit, is he going to start again straight away? That might not be the case. I think Palace will basically play a really similar team to what they did last time out, play Zaha down the middle, and that will obviously limit Edouard's chances. What Edouard could do, though, is also play on the wings, but I probably would be a bit hesitant about Edouard and maybe be willing to sell him to a Martial or someone of that ilk like Solanke, for example. So that's all covered. If you have any more kind of injury questions, let me know. Welcome, Sudindra. Is it worth... Let me try and get this up. Is it worth selling Doherty and Alvarez to Perisic, Gabriel, Martial, Firmino, Núñez for -4? Is it worth selling Doherty and Alvarez? I think it's worth a -4, but as I always say, I'm very reluctant about hits in terms of defenders, even when it's someone like Perisic. Thoughts on Odegaard, says Cole? No. I like him as a player, but most of his goals have actually come against newly promoted sides. He is facing Wolves, who are poor at the moment, but he is not my favourite FPL asset. I'd rather go to Saka, Martinelli from the same team, and even Jesus to cover the attack. Odegaard's not my favourite. Eze or Gross to start, says Asen. Jesus, sorry about that. I would go for Eze, actually, from those two. Will Wilson play today? My gut feeling is that he does, but I'm literally 50-50 on it, I have to say. Sell or keep Daka? I'd probably sell because he can start 1 week and then not play the next. Will Martial play? I believe he will, but my concern with him is Ronaldo. And I think Tuan put a message about that, actually. Yeah, His illness is a bit tough because obviously he was out on Thursday, literally just 2 days ago. But at the same time, he's got another day to recover. And Ten Hag said that it's literally one of those illnesses that could go about very quickly. So it's a close one. Doherty to Konate for a -4. Honestly, if you have someone like Andreas to cover, I'd just go for him. I wouldn't really take a -4 hit for a defender if you can. Mitrovic to Kane looks really simple to me, mate. I'd do it. Just join the stream. Any info about Haaland? No, we don't. There was a video earlier with someone who's linked to the kind of leaker, and he said Haaland and Foden start, but I'm not so sure how seriously we can take it. Maybe he's completely right, and we are getting the news even earlier. And either way, if you're asking me about my opinion, my gut feeling is that Haaland and Foden start. I said this yesterday and throughout the whole week, but I'm more confident of Haaland rather than Foden. Wilson was apparently training away from the squad, not for him, but in any case of his World Cup teammates caught anything. Yes, apparently he had COVID. He might be better now, but it's kind of a tough one. Start Saliba or Castagna? I'd go for Saliba. Should I start Pereira or Mings? I would go for Pereira. Sell or keep Bowen? It depends who you sell Bowen for. So if you're selling Bowen to Maddison, Zaha, Martinelli, Saka, even Kulusevski, I probably would. Otherwise, maybe not. It just really depends on the player you're bringing in. Mahrez as a punt looks good, to be fair, but as I said last week when I was asked about Mahrez, I haven't seen enough from him in the Premier League. He has actually had a poor season by his standards. Last year, whenever he got a Premier League start, he would do really well. That was the difference, and that's why I like the punt from time to time. But this year, not so much. I haven't seen enough from him. Will Foden play? Mockless, I literally featured your comment just now, mate, so it's up to you if you want to listen to it. Will Foden play? I think he will. Like I said, I don't have enough information. I don't have actual, proof or leaks. It's completely up to you. You have to back your gut there, or maybe wait for the league lineups, but I think he will play. Saka or Martinelli or both? Saka has been in the better form of the two over the last month or so, since basically the beginning of October, so I'd probably go for Saka if you can afford it. If Foden doesn't start, Rashford or Kulusevski? Probably Rashford, actually. It's a close one, though. Martial or Konate? Martial has the highest ceiling. I'd go for Martial. 2 free transfers, Mitrovic and Wilson to Solanke and Nunez. Close one. I'd probably go ahead with it. If you can keep Wilson and also get Nunez, that'd be perfect. But if you can't, I'd do the transfers, Rajat, and keep it simple. Up there about Wilson, we covered it earlier. So he trained away from the group and he has been training over the last few days. That's the key positive. And it's all down to a late fitness test and they'll see if he's ready or not. So that's literally the update we have. Thank you, Karaki. I appreciate it as always. Nunez and Solanke or Jesus and Martial? Jesus and Martial looks a bit better. Or I'll call him Jesus. Mo captain, he's my second favourite this week. But if you have Haaland, I'd probably go for him. It's completely up to you, by the way. But I think he's a great captaincy option. Wilson to Nunez or Mitrovic to Jesus Solanke? I'm literally in the same boat, Toast, in the exact same situation as you. The only difference is Mitrovic could become Firmino or he could become Martial. I would probably favour Wilson to Nunez from those options you gave me. But Jesus is not bad in for Mitrovic. I need to stop mispronouncing his name. I'm really happy with how my team looks this week. Can't burn 2 free transfers though. Don't know who to sell. Yeah, I get you. In a way, doing nothing in my case wouldn't be too shabby. But with Wilson and Mitrovic potentially out, then it does make a transfer potentially, feasible, to be fair. Thank you, Wasik. Yeah, look, the AI is a good indicator of, who has the best fixtures, who's in good form, who has good underlying numbers, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. You have to also rely on your own, you also have to rely on your own kind of gut feelings on that. Your thoughts about Garnacho? He had a really good game against Aston Villa the other day. 2 assists. As an FPL asset, though, not for me. I'd rather go for Rashford, Martial, and a few other Man United assets. Madara, I'd go for Pope out of those two. Dallo to White or Davis? White. That would be my preference. Dylan Webster or Ben White to start? I would go for Ben White once again. Trossard thoughts? I think he's a really good choice this week. The thing with Trossard is a lot of his kind of big returns come against the bigger teams, ironically enough, but I think he's capable. He's been really consistent throughout the whole season, especially compared to the last few seasons, and he's got more of a offensive role, and at the moment he's playing up front. I mean, there's a lot to like with him, and I think Aston Villa, despite Unai Emery, you know, having a decent impact so far, I still think that Brighton will score plenty of goals against them. Will Perisic play forward again? I don't think so. With Kulusevski and Richarlison back, I just don't think it makes sense, and I think they'll go back to those lot. Kulusevski, Zaha, or Foden? I would probably go for Zaha from those three. Almiron or Martial? Almiron. Do free transfers carry over to the World Cup? No, because we get unlimited transfers, just like we did in Game Week 1. So don't worry about free transfers. Make the ones that you think will benefit your team. If you don't think, you know, making a transfer will benefit your team, then roll the transfer basically, or, you know, save it, burn it, whatever. But they don't carry over. You get unlimited anyway. Everyone does. Morning, Dylan from Puerto de Santiago in Tenerife. I've actually never been, I think, to Tenerife. I've been to other places in Spain and other islands, but enjoy it, mate. I'm not sure what the weather is exactly like there. There might be a bit of thunderstorms or maybe a bit of clouds, but still some good warm weather. Enjoy it, Cyril, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. Trossard or Saka? This week, I'd probably favour Trossard. Are you happy with England World Cup squad? I don't support England, just to make that clear. But looking at it, you know, from a neutral perspective, or if I was an England fan, I think it is a good squad. There's a few things that, you know, really do baffle me. I've seen Tomori plenty in, you know, for AC Milan. I know he had that kind of disaster class against Chelsea on both legs, but also a really harsh decision to send him off in, you know, the home game for AC Milan. And I think he's better than the likes of Maguire. I do get why Southgate has gone for certain players, because they've already built this kind of chemistry over the years. And Maguire hasn't been that bad for England, let's be realistic. But I still think there are a few mistakes he made, such as not going for he has gone for Callum Wilson, but he hasn't gone for Ivan Toney as well. I would have picked both of them alongside Harry Kane. I think those are the best free forwards for England at the moment. But look, you can't have the perfect squad. Even for, you know, other nations, everyone has something to complain about. It's a good World Cup squad. Do I think England will win it? No, but they can go quite far. Pope or Alisson for this game week, says Lager. I would probably go for Alisson. Yeah, and I talked about this in the best wildcard and free hit team video. Good night, Labrifax. Thank you very much for tuning in. Saliba or Perisic? Saliba has the better chance of a clean sheet. Perisic obviously has the attacking threat. I'd go for Saliba though, I think. Thank you, Punjabi. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Shaw or Trippier? Who to start? Trippier for me all day long. Better team. Fixture, I wouldn't say is better. That's the only thing that's in Shaw's favour, but Trippier is better in every single regard, except for the fixture, should I say. I have 2 reds and 2 yellows with 1 free transfer. What should I do? If possible, I'd get rid of one of the reds. If I'm guessing one of them is Mitrovic, so that's probably what I'd look to do. No problem, Harry. I'll try to go for it. I'm just not able to feature your comment because, yeah, in terms of long comments, I need to figure out a way to kind of feature them without, you know, it looking too bad. Alisson, Trippier, White, Cancelo, Anderson, Salah, Foden, Saka, Martinelli, Solanke, Haaland, bench, Ward, Wilson, Andreas, Justin. What would you do? I can see your problem, and you could potentially burn 2 free transfers, right? So, look, you've got a really good starting 11. Alisson, Trippier, White, Cancelo. I wouldn't change any single one of them. Anderson's fine. Salah, Foden, Saka, Martinelli, Solanke, Haaland. So basically the first thing that kind of stands out to me, Harry, is if we do get any news on Foden, you know, let's say, for example, he's benched, then I would sell him. You know, that's for sure. But my gut feeling is he will be available. He will start. And he probably will stay in your team as a result. There's no need to really get rid of him. As for your bench, I think you've ordered it in the right way. Obviously, if Wilson does start, I would probably rather start him over Anderson and also Solanke, but that's just kind of my personal take. What would you do? It's a really close one because, you know, I can see your dilemmas here. So really, you know, the advice I gave you earlier, it makes sense. It's quite simple. You know, you don't need to think about that too much. But then what do you do if Foden actually starts? Well, to be honest, I'd probably start Wilson over Solanke. But then what transfers do you make? I have no idea in your case. If you have money in the bank, then I would do Foden to, let's say, De Bruyne, for example. But I don't think that's going to be the case. You've already got Salah, Haaland. So let me know your budget, Harry, and then I'll try to give you a better answer than what I just did. Pope or Ward? I am going for Pope myself. So that's just my opinion. Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much for the shout out. And as he says, like the page. It really helps out the channel. And also be sure to subscribe because we're looking to get to 17,000. We're very close to that, only a few hundred away. So thank you, Jay, as always. Webster to Ben White or risk for team news on Foden? Look, the big problem with waiting for team news is that the site could crash and you can't make your transfers anyway, and then you're in an even worse position. But I think it is also a good idea to have your app ready. Try to have as many avenues as possible to getting your transfers through, and having the latest information is always going to be an advantage. You know, sometimes it can backfire like it did for me last week, but I probably would do Webster to Ben White. I think that's a good transfer, and I think Webster won't keep the clean sheet. Ben White has a much better chance of it. And look, Foden to Kulusevski. I like the transfer on paper if Foden is benched, but honestly, you know, my gut feeling is that Webster to Ben White is the transfer for you, Vignesh. Who is the best Chelsea asset currently, in your opinion? It's a really tough call. I mean, where do I start? Who do I go to? Mason Mount is probably the best one. Sterling is far too much money. The same goes for Aubameyang. They're not worth it. There's probably Mason Mount and pretty much it, really. Cucurella is not too shabby, I guess. I mean, he's not really good, actually. So, yeah, I'll be honest. Chelsea assets are a no-go for now. After the World Cup, going into Gameweek 17, I'd probably recommend someone like Kepa in goal. Really good fixtures, really cheap, a lot of saves, so really high ceiling. Yes, so look, we're still getting some questions about Cancelo red card. Let's make this very clear, you know, because you can see here he's got no red flag. He is available. The reason why he's available is because he served the suspension in midweek against Chelsea, and red cards aren't always free games. You know, his foul or his red card wasn't deemed as foul play. It was literally a tactical foul which went wrong. He got a red card. He served the suspension. It's over. So it's as simple as that. Cancelo got a red card. He's available now. Would you play Anderson over Zaha if you had to choose? I'd play Zaha. Higher ceiling, I wouldn't do that. Billing to Mitoma for a -4. I'd probably keep Billing. He's been quite good this season. I don't think it's worth getting rid of him for a -4 hit for Mitoma. Skamaka or Martial just for this week? Martial. From those two, it has to be Martial. I'm going with 5 midfielders: Saka, Martinelli, Zaha, Rashford, Almiron. Is it good, or should I bring in someone better? Good question. I think your midfield's fine as it is, mate. I don't really see who I'd get rid of. Unless you went up to Salah or Kevin De Bruyne, I would keep everyone as they are. Saka to Salah or KDB for a -4, says Desmond. I would go to Salah from those two. He's my second favourite captaincy option this week behind the robot, Erling Haaland. Chance that players in the World Cup get subbed early, especially if the team is winning. Example, Kevin De Bruyne or Darwin. Yes, it is possible. You know, managers like Pep have talked about this a lot. And by the way, apologies that sometimes, you know, long messages are kind of cropped out. I'll try to see if I have a solution to that in the future. That's a really good point. So like I was saying, so managers like Pep Guardiola, they really like to give players freedom. So if, for example, a player tells them before a game, you look, you know, can you please just like sub me off a little bit early or whatever? I want to be ready for the World Cup. He will listen. You know, not every single manager's like that. They will just completely prioritize, you know, their club. That's completely fair enough. But I think that's a really good point. It just depends on the manager, though, and the player in question. Some players, I think, just always want to play every single minute, all the time. I mean, look at Tierney, for example. I know he's not going to the World Cup, but that's one good example to point towards. Will Kane start? Yes, that's a good question, a good point, because obviously there was a lot of talk, even from Conte, that he basically is completely, you know, burnt out and he's suffering from a few kind of minor injury problems. I think he will start. He's too important to Spurs to not start, especially with the likes of Kulusevski and Richarlison, you know, for example. You know, they aren't fully fit yet, I believe. Wilson to Firmino or Martial? I would go to Firmino. That's my gut feeling, but Martial's also a good choice. Nunez, Solanke or Nunez, Alvarez? Probably Nunez and Solanke because I don't think Alvarez starts, but wait for team news. That would be my 2 cents on it. So let's just get one more question here. Didn't Foden not play in the Carabao Cup? He didn't, but that doesn't mean he's going to play for sure this weekend. I think he will play, by the way. I think he will start, but it's not a guarantee with Pep, and we've seen this over the last few weeks. So, yeah, that's going to be definitely the big advice today. So that's kind of most of the questions covered. I know we'll have more as we go along. I'm going to end this poll as well, by the way. So once again, 47% of you have voted Wilson to Nunez as the best transfer to make in my case, and I would play Anderson. So it does make sense. I think that's a good kind of vote. Thank you to everyone who did vote. The second place was Martial in for Mitrovic. Third was Firmino. And fourth, Solanke. I think Firmino is going a bit under the radar, actually. Yeah, exactly, Harry. And I covered this question before as well. But thank you, Harry. I appreciate it. So yeah, don't worry. I will be going through your questions as well. I'm just going to do a quick break. I will bring up the predicted points on screen. I'll still be here, by the way, but I also have to charge my laptop before it actually goes out of battery, which is still some time away, but I don't want to have any complications whatsoever as well. So let's bring up the predicted points. And as you can see here, this will also help you in your captaincy decisions. And I completely agree with the top four. Like I said, that is how I would rank the top four captaincy options this week in order. So I'll be back literally in just a few seconds. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back. You see, that was really quick, and we are going to go back to your questions. So, try not to spam the chat. If I don't answer after a certain period of time, like 5-10 minutes, fair enough. So yeah, no, don't worry about that. But just try not to spam the chat. You know, one question after the other, and we're all good. We'll replace Mitrovic or Dalot. I think Mitrovic, selling him would have a higher ceiling. You know, if you go to Martial, Jesus, Nunez, Firmino, etc., I think that's a higher ceiling. So that would be my preference, selling Mitrovic instead. Trossard or Almiron plus Martial? Almiron. The form he's in, I'd go for Almiron. Haaland and Foden start source. Yeah, I saw that, Pawan. Well, technically, so he's involved, but it's Team News and Ticks that does the leaks, and then he tells Luke, I think, and then he does the videos sometimes. Kane or Nunez captain? I would go for Kane. I'd still go for Kane from those two. Thanks, by the way, Dylan. Have 0.3 million in the bank. Early City news is big for me. Yeah, my gut feeling is that Foden and Haaland will start, same with Kevin De Bruyne, so that would make your situation really difficult. So if anything, you might be hoping for a Foden benching, oddly enough, in terms of just kind of making your decisions really quickly. Are Mings and Iwobi good assets to keep? I like Iwobi at his price and below. Mings, no. I think Aston Villa are poor defensively. With Unai Emery, I don't expect that to change. So Iwobi could be a decent option going forwards. He's not my favourite, by the way. You know, you've got Almiron, you've even got Billing, Xhaka, etc. But Mings, no. I don't think he's a good asset. Hola, ¿cómo vas? Saludos desde Colombia. I have Wilson and Mitrovic, 1.7 million in the bank, and one free transfer. What would you do? Saludos para vos también. Y, in terms of your question, I have Wilson and Mitrovic. So you could do Wilson to Nunez. So my preference or my advice to you would be Wilson to Nunez or Mitrovic to Firmino or Jesus, I'd say. And I have to say, Martial is also a really good choice. I'd go to one of those four forwards for sure. I would only do Wilson to Nunez, by the way, if you think Wilson's going to miss out for sure. Because if you have any kind of gut feeling of him starting, I'd keep Wilson and just sell Mitrovic to one of those options I said. Castagne or Ben White? I'd go to Ben White. How many points will Martinelli get? I wish I could tell you and, you know, give you the answer and spoil it and have the answers. My gut feeling is that he'll just get a return, you know, like a 5 or 6 pointer. And that would be enough for me. But I think he hasn't scored away from home since game week 3. I think that's the case, since the Bournemouth game, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that, though. It might have been game week 2. Best 7.6 million attacker. For me, it would be Martial. I took off Cancelo for Castagna. Yeah, Cancelo is one of the most transferred out players this week, and remember, he is available. So just be aware of that. You know, for people who aren't, maybe people rage transfer. That's fair enough. But in terms of, you know, people getting rid of him because he's suspended, so-called, yeah, that's just the wrong thing to do. Is it worth a -4 to transfer Wilson out? Depends who you get rid of him for. I think it is worth it, especially if you think he doesn't start. I honestly have no idea. I'm 50-50 on it. If I had to lean one way, like I said, it would be Wilson starting, but I'm just not so sure. Rashford or Almiron? I'd still say Almiron. I know it sounds crazy, but the form he's in, you just can't ignore it. And he's now player of the month, which was deserved. James to Shaw. I'm not that confident of United defensively. I think Fulham will score. However, what does boost their chances is Mitrovic missing out. I think that's a big plus for Man United. I think that's a good transfer, but I would rather go to Konate, Ben White, and a few other defenders. Keep Foden or transfer to Almiron. I would probably keep Foden. I think he starts, and we might get information very soon. Welcome, Genius Gamer. Martinelli scored game week 10-14. Let me try and remember, actually, because I might have said the wrong stat. 10 and 14. But weren't they home games? I'm going to double check that now because I can't remember off the top of my head, especially with the kind of suspension we had at one point. So game week 10, yeah, home, Liverpool. So yeah, his last away return was game week 3, yeah, against Bournemouth. I mean, to be fair, he was very unlucky not to get that goal against Man United. That was, in my opinion, wrongfully disallowed. Brentford away, yeah, didn't score. Yeah, so in terms of away goals, he hasn't performed since game week 3. So that's just something to think about. I got Captain Haaland as well. To be fair, I think a lot of us do. It's just kind of the way the game is at the moment. Mitrovic to Martial for -4. I'd go for it. Yeah, I think it's worth the risk. Tarkowski or Nico? Tarkowski. Is West Ham defence better than Everton or similar? I'd say West Ham are better in terms of the underlying numbers, and they are a better defence in general, but West Ham defenders have a mistake in them, especially even Carrere, for example, as the right back. So that's, I think, what separates the two sides. And what Everton do have are two solid centre-backs, dependable, and they have made a real difference. But Everton have also overperformed, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. No problem, Lager. Obviously, you make a valid point. You know, Martinelli, you know, I wouldn't pay too much attention to home and away games, but it's something just worth thinking about. It's something I saw, I think, the other day, and it kind of caught my eye because it's something I never really thought about. Will Wilson play? Like I said, my gut feeling is he does. Honestly, I have no idea, one way or another. Will you be captaining Salah if Haaland is benched? Yes, and my vice-captain would then be probably still Haaland, I think. I'm not going anywhere near Cancelo again. If Alvarez starts and Haaland, then should I sub him for Perisic? Yes, I probably would. Or look for someone else to bench. Wilson to Nunez and Mitrovic to Martial for -4. Honestly, mate, looks incredible, Mickey. I would go ahead with it. Would you take a -4 for Nunez, Solanke and Kanate? Yes, I would, but it depends which players you bring out, as always. Mo, like I said, I would do it. Bringing in Ben White as my second Arsenal defender, Gabriel for -4 or not, I will be playing Kilman or Nico. Okay move. Yes, if White is for free, that's completely fine. -4 hit for a defender, I wouldn't recommend it. Foden to Saka as a -4, can't stick around for team news. That's completely fair enough. My gut feeling is that Foden starts, and that's why I would keep him, personally, but looks good to me. Saka's a good choice. Saka to KDB and Haaland to Darwin for a hit. No, I would not get rid of Haaland this week. I think he starts. Do you think Almiron will score? Yes, I think he scores. Are Villa strikers a good option this week? Potentially, but I don't trust Villa attackers, and as a result, I can't really recommend them. Sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know what that was. Mitrovic to Martial and Wilson to Jesus for a -8. Yes, I think I would do it. Solanke or Martial? I'd go for Anthony Martial. Wilson to Martial or Billing to Gross, 1 free transfer. Wilson to Martial, Genius Gamer. Yeah, that would be my preference. Sack it in for Foden or keep Foden? I would probably keep Foden, but that's just really because I think he starts. And even way, I'm 60-40 on it. I'm not completely sure. I made the big mistake of captaining Cancelo last game. Joined the club. Over Trippier and Salah, genuine fear when the red card was shown. This is the thing, though. I actually said it was really close for me, but I think I would just about rank Trippier over Cancelo as captain. The only reason why I ended up captaining Cancelo is because of the team news, and I wanted to captain a City player, and it was the wrong decision. Yes, I should have stuck with my original captain, but it's bad luck for Cancelo to get sent off. How many times is that going to happen this season? Probably never again, but it happens. Why have I chosen Pope over Ward? Because I have more confidence in Newcastle keeping a clean sheet, even though both of them have a decent chance in my opinion. But because West Ham is an away fixture, that's what would sway me towards Nick Pope. I think Newcastle win by 2 or 3 goals, and I think they could keep a clean sheet, and that's why I've gone for it. Perisic for Trippier? No. Trippier for me is a much better option. I wouldn't do it. Should I do Foden to Saka? I think you asked this already, mate. I would probably keep Foden. It's completely up to you. And yeah, instead I'd find a replacement to Wilson. Martial or Alvarez? Thank you, McGovern. I would go for Martial because I don't think Alvarez starts. If we get the news of Haaland being benched and Alvarez starting, then I would reconsider. But until then, I'd go to Martial. I don't feel like I need to do any transfers, just Pope to Alisson. Honestly, mate, that's a good position to be in. If you think, you know, you have no transfers to make and you would benefit from that, go for it. I think Alisson has a much better chance of a clean sheet this week, despite the fact that Pope, the fixture isn't that bad, in my opinion. But yes, I think that's good. If you have no other transfers to make, do it. Don't do it for a hit, though, of course, and I'm guessing you're not. Thoughts on Magnussen on pole? We actually got this question earlier. Obviously, it's great to see. Very fortuitous, of course, but he deserved the luck. He was incredible. One of the best drivers yesterday, if not the best, and he deserved it, and he still had to get the lap time in. He did it, so fair play to him. I'm obviously happy, even more so because I got him in my team. You'll probably lose points, but speaking about F1 purely, it's really good to see. Will we get the lineup? I don't know for sure if we will, but I think we will. And that's a kind of a weird answer. Is this my final team? No, because I'm looking to make a final transfer. I'm just waiting for potential news, potentially. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Hello, Dylan. Thoughts on doing Dalot to Gabriel? Looks good to me. Obviously, he just got the goal last game. Will he score in back-to-back games? Of course he could. And he's got the best chance of any Arsenal defender of scoring goals. I think that's a good transfer, mate. He's got a good chance of a clean sheet. Who are the best players to own this game week? You can check out my best wildcard / free hit team video. That's all covered. And the other players to mention that I haven't or didn't feature in that team would be Nunez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and a few others here and there. Thoughts on 1 week punt Garnacho? Really good the other day, but once again, I would rather go to Rashford or Martial. Share or Cancelo? Come on, mate. It's Cancelo all day long. Mitrovic out for who? 1 week punt, then have 2 million in the bank. Yeah, you just are a bit shy of Nunez. So I'd go to either Firmino or Martial. That would be my 1 week punt for you. Anderson away at Forest or Dunk at home versus, I'm guessing it's versus Villa. I would go to Anderson. Gordon or Maddison start? Maddison all day long for me. Sell or keep Tony? I'd sell him. Mitrovic and Wilson to Solanke and Darwin -4. Yes, I'd do it. Solanke or Trippier to bench? Solanke. I'd start Trippier. Will you change your captain if Haaland doesn't start? Yes, I'd captain Salah. Will Anthony start? Not so sure about that. I think it would be Rashford, Bruno, Martial, and Garnacho. Durgesh, I have answered questions, mate. Kind of difficult to answer every single question, but there you go. If the team news about Haaland and Foden starting true, I'm not so sure, Sudindra. I said this earlier as well. I'm not so sure. It's kind of a tough one to call. I think they will start anyway, especially Haaland, but I'm not so sure. My gut feeling is that he's telling the truth, but let's wait and see. Saka, good option. He always is, in my opinion. KDB to Kulusevski, Mitrovic to Haaland, -4. I'd only do that if we get confirmation of Haaland starting. Getting rid of KDB from -4 doesn't sit right with me, though. Zinchenko or Konate? Zinchenko, if I had to pick one. Firmino, Jesus, or Martial, who would you go with? If I had to pick one, it actually, oddly enough, would be Firmino, I think. It's really close between him and Martial, and I could go either way on that one, but at the moment, Firmino. Greenwood or, I'm guessing that's Awani. Okay, either way, I'd just say Greenwood. If you're talking about a budget striker, it'd be Greenwood. Kane and Gross or Nunez and Maddison? Nunez and Maddison. Foden playing? I think so. We don't have confirmation. Yeah, any spam comments, you're not going to be answered. Mitoma or Benrahma? Mitoma. Benrahma's been West Ham's best player recently, but still Mitoma for me. Soup out to Perisic and bench Almiron or play Almiron and Pope to Alisson? Oof, that's it. No, don't bench Almiron. Honestly, mate, don't. In my opinion, I'd just play Almiron and do Pope to Alisson. That would be my personal opinion. Thank you, Domba, for the super chat. Why don't you captain Salah now and change to Haaland? If site crashes, you are risking 2 points on Haaland as captain if he is benched. That's not a bad shout, actually. That's actually a really good point. I'm quite confident I can get my transfer through. I know that sounds really stubborn. I was able to last week, which then ended up backfiring. But I think the transfers will go through. And obviously, I need a bit of luck for that to happen. But you might be onto something there. I think that could be a good piece of advice going forward. So if we have an early kickoff, such as Man City in this case, it might be better to captain your vice-captain originally. And then let's say, for example, we don't get the kind of mega news of Haaland being benched. Then in that case, we can easily switch to him after, and the site will have a lower chance of being crashed. That's a really good point, actually. I have Alvarez and Kane. I have Alvarez, Kane captain, -4 KDB for Haaland and captain him, or just bring Firmino for Alvarez. I'd probably do Firmino to Alvarez, Ayub. Salah in, KDB out. For free, potentially. But either way, KDB's fine. He's a great choice this week. Would you start Andreas Webster or Gay this week? I would start Gay from those three. Nunez or Firmino? I would go to Nunez. Just about, though. It's really close. Should I sell Wilson for a hit? If you don't think he starts, sell him for a hit. And I'd go to Nunez, Firmino, or Martial. I'm playing my wild card. Any midfield suggestions? Trossard, Rashford, one of Saka, Martinelli, one of Salah or KDB for sure, and I would go for Salah. I think those are some good options for you. And do not forget the man of the moment, Almiron. Haaland won't be benched. He is not going to play World Cup, so I can't really see any reason for him to be benched. Yeah, I agree, Laga. I agree. But it's a good point that Donba makes. It's a really good point going forwards. Captain Salah or Haaland, it's completely up to you, mate, but I'm going for Haaland. It's a really close one, though. Thank you, Dilmy. I'm new to FPL. How does the vice captain work? No problems. Good to see you here. So the vice captain only comes into play if your original captain, so in my case it would be Haaland, if he doesn't play a single minute, he will then be benched, and then my captaincy will switch to my vice captain, which in this case would be Mohamed Salah. So in this case, Haaland will go to the bench, he will have 0 points, and Salah, his points will then be doubled instead. He'll be my new captain. So that's how the vice captain works. He only comes into play when the original captain doesn't play a single minute. Trippier or Almiron? I would say Almiron out of those two. It's a close one, though. Hold Foden or sell him to Rashford or Trossard? I would hold Foden. Darwin and Almiron in for Foden and Wilson? Yeah, I'd probably go for it, actually. But my only concern is Foden starting, and he could really go big. But good transfers. Start Anderson or Ben White? Ben White for me. Bernardo to Almiron for a -4? Not for a -4, no. Ward or Pope in goal? You can see the answer on screen because I'm doing it myself. I'm going for Pope at the moment. I will captain Kane. Not too shabby, mate. I would like more double-digit returns from him. That's what I would say, but he's been so consistent. Keep Mount or sell for a -4? I'd probably sell him for a -4, and I would go to Almiron, Maddison, Zaha, Saka, even Kulusevski potentially, Rashford, Trossard. There's a lot of options you could go to. I'd probably take the -4 hit. First bench, Andreas or Dunk? I would go for Andreas Pereira. Gross or Eze? I'd go for Eze. What are your transfer ideas? They were in the poll I put earlier. So basically what I'm looking to do is either Wilson to Nunez, or it would be Mitrovic to either Martial, Firmino, or Solanke. If we get news of Alvarez starting, then he's another one, but that's more kind of on the unlikely side. Would you play Trippier over Dyer and Anderson? Yes, definitely. Solanke or Watkins? Solanke. Zaha or Maddison or Saka? This week, I'd say Zaha. Morning Bud got COVID, feeling rough. Perisic, Robertson or Trent for free? Get well soon, Mark Peter. Hopefully you do recover very soon. I appreciate you tuning in. I would do Perisic to Trent. It's kind of a close one, though, because Trent hasn't been getting into as good positions as he once was, but he would be my preference of the two still. Thank you very much, by the way, Mark, and get well soon. Should I bench Scamacca this game week? I have Andreas, Dunk, and Carrere on the bench. I would still play Scamacca. My only concern is Antonio could start instead of him, but let's wait and see. I would go to Nunez, Ramley, sorry. I'd go to Nunez. Really close one, though. Start Gay or Ben White? Ben White. Thoughts on Tony? Have Perisic on bench. Should I start him? I'd start Perisic over Tony. -4 is not worth it for 1 week punt unless it's captaincy. Fair enough, but it's the way I see it is Mount, in my opinion, will blank. I don't see Chelsea scoring many goals there, and they might not even score a single goal, in my opinion. And you can go to so many midfielders who have a high ceiling this week. So that's why I would recommend the -4. In that case, I wouldn't recommend hits for most people, though. Mitrovic to Scamacca for a -4? No. I'd rather go to another striker. Dyer, Short, Almiron, start 1. Almiron. And Martinelli, Foden to Kulusevski, good move. Yes, but I'd probably keep Martinelli and Foden. That's my take on it. Martial or Solanke for a -4, or keep Wilson? I'd do Martial. for a -4 potentially. But keeping Wilson's not bad at all, mate. Taking Martial for Wilson or Ben White for Dalot. I think Ben White for Dalot is the safer pick because you know Dalot's not going to play. With Wilson, there is a chance. Having said that, Martial is the highest ceiling, so I do get your dilemma, Philip. I'd probably go for Ben White in for Dalot. How is Wolves defending lately? Not too good. That's a simple answer. Obviously, they were leading at several stages against Brighton. They got comeback. They conceded 3. And also, the thing with Wolves is I think they had a really good start to the season defensively, and it's kind of tailed off since the Man City game, actually. So the answer is not too well. They probably have been a bit unlucky on certain occasions, but not great defensively. I don't expect them to concede 3 or 4 to Arsenal, but I don't see them keeping a clean sheet. Vice captain Kane or Nunez? Kane. Gross or Eze? We've answered this quite a few times, actually. I'll answer it once more. Eze. If Haaland is starting, is it worth selling Wilson or Alvarez to Nunez Martial for -4? Yes, Adindra. And probably it would be Alvarez in this case. Best attacker, I have Martial and Haaland, 11.1 million. Well, you can't afford Kane, unfortunately, so it would be Nunez for me. Is Bruno Fernandes a good option? Not in my opinion. Not in FPL. Obviously, he has those moments, like against Spurs, he was incredible. You know, I think he created 9 not big chances. He created 9 chances, and he also scored a great goal. But he's no longer a great FPL option as he once was. Best Wilson replacement, already have Nunez. I would say one of Firmino, Martial, or Jesus. And in your case, I'd probably go for Martial. If you are a Pokemon, which one would you be? That's a great question. Honestly, I have no idea, but really good question. Martial for Wilson for -4. I think I would do it, but it's really risky. It's too risky, I think. I honestly... Look, if you have good cover on the bench like Anderson and Andres Pereira, I would hold the hit and just stick with what you have. Martial, Firmino, Jesus, I would rank it Firmino first, Martial second, Jesus third this week, but it's really close. You could go for any single one of them. Kane or Martial? It will have to be Kane. Ward or Pope in goal? We've got this question quite a lot, actually. Check my poll in the on my YouTube channel on the community tab. I've gone for the same answer. Pope would be my call, but it's really close. Gonna bench boost today and reset after the World Cup. Sink of benching headaches. I've had 18, 19, 15, 19 points on the bench in the last 5 weeks. Ah, wow. I feel your pain, especially if you're having a pretty poor season. It gets even more frustrating when you have so many bench points, so I do get you. I still have my wildcard. Should I use it today? I would use it today. I mean, you might as well. You can prevent hits. You can also take some punts on players like Martial and, you know, some other players you might not have had otherwise. You know, play the wildcard now. The wildcard will then reset. Yes, you're absolutely right. After this game week, we get unlimited transfers in Game Week 17, and then the wildcard will become available, the second one, in Game Week 18. But you want to save that for later on in the season. When will we hear the league lineup for City game? We might not today, to be fair, but... You know, I'm guessing, you know, with the deadline at 11, my guess is 10:40, 10:45 we'll get the lineup if we do get one today. Bowen to Saka for -8. No, I wouldn't do that. Wilson and Emerson out for Martial and Perisic for -4. Yes, I would do that. Wilson and Alvarez, I really want a Liverpool attacker. What to do at -4 worth it? I would do maybe Alvarez up to Nunez or Firmino if we do get confirmation or any kind of leaked lineups from a reliable source. I would probably do that, yeah. And assuming that Alvarez is benched, of course. Sanchez or Pope? I would go for Pope. Once again, Alvin, Pope is my answer. Really close one, though. Tony to Jesus or Solanke? Jesus. You know what? From now, I'm going to stop saying Jesus. Jesus. Okay, that's the proper pronunciation. Anthony to Willian for -4? No, not for me. Who do I transfer Tony for? I would go to Nunez, Firmino, or Martial. Start Wilson or Gay? Probably Wilson. And first bench, if so, who of Gay and Andreas? Gay. -4 for Bowen to Saka or Andreas to Tavernier? If I had to pick one, it'd be Bowen to Saka, but I wouldn't do it. Almiron to Trossard or keep Trossard in the team? No, I would just keep what you have there, Coutinho, personally. Who did you captain last week? Cancelo. My original vice captain was Trippier. I should have stuck with it. I would have benefited a lot from it. We're talking about 14 points here, but it is what it is. Look, there's no right or wrong answer here, Hedge, but the bench boost I would say for a double game week later in the season, or whenever you have a really good bench on paper, you know, you've got really good fixtures and, you know, you can't find a way to get these bench players into your starting 11. Free hit, I would use in either a blank or a double game week, so later on in the season. And triple captain, basically Haaland, and when are we going to use it? When he's got a really good home game or when he's got a double game week. So really, you're going to have to wait for later in the season for a better chance of higher points. But double game weeks don't always pay off. I will say that. Thank you, Gatonga. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. Bench Anderson or Andreas. If you think Andreas will score, don't bench him. It's as simple as that, Mo. I'd start him. But in my personal opinion, I would start Anderson of the two. Gay or Andreas? I've Gaeta, though. In that case, I would probably go for Andreas. I don't... As good as Palace have been recently, and as good as the fixture is, I wouldn't double up on their defence. Take a -4 for Mitrovic to Darwin? Yes, Elvind, I would. Bench Webster or Zuma? I would bench Zuma. Who should start? Saliba or Castagna? Good choices, but I would go for Saliba to start. Thank you, Coutinho. Scamacca to Firmino? Yes, I would do it. Who should I start? Bailey, Gay, or Andreas, says Paths Who. I would go for Bailey this week, actually. He's been in really good form. It's a close one, though. Darwin for Wilson and Almiron for Saka -4. Looks great to me. The thing is, though, getting rid of Saka for a -4, that's what kind of ruins it for me. I probably wouldn't. Kulusevski and Haaland versus Salah and Wilson. I prefer Kulusevski and Haaland just because I have a bit more confidence in Kulusevski starting than Callum Wilson, oddly enough. Thank you, Hedge. I appreciate it. Bench either Maddison, Rashford, Martinelli, or Almiron. Really? I wouldn't bench any single one of them, mate. If I had to pick one, it would be Martinelli, but I wouldn't bench him. Who to bench, Castagna or Trent? I'd bench Castagna. No news on Haaland yet? No, but it looks like he's going to start. Let's wait and see. Anderson or Dunk? Anderson. Bench Tielemans or Bowen Zaha? I'd bench Tielemans from those lot. Foden to De Bruyne? Yes, I probably would, but for free. I wouldn't do it for a -4. Webster or Gay to start? I pinned the wrong comment, by the way, but thank you very much, BSH. I appreciate it very much. Let's also get this question as well by Simeon. Webster or Gay to start? Gay. Double Man United, Rashford and Martial are high risk? I think so. You know, United have been good recently, but one of their kind of big problems is scoring goals. I know they scored 4 the other day, but they're not a team that strikes me as scoring 2 or 3 consistently in the Premier League every single week. I think they will have a lot of kind of 1-0 games, 1-1s, frustrating losses, because they can't finish enough chances. Even Ronaldo, for example, missing a lot of chances, all of them. So it is risky, but for this week only, it is worth the risk, I'd say. My preference is to double up on Liverpool attack, personally, but United attack is not too shabby. It's not the worst case in the world, basically. Do you think Foden will start? Yes, I think he does. It's just a thought, though. Who should I start, Doherty, Guimaraes, or Nico? I'd probably start Bruno Guimaraes from those 3. Have we got any sort of early team news? Nope. Really love the comments popping up. Nice one, mate. Thank you. We'll wait and see how this goes. Obviously, sometimes I accidentally kind of select the wrong comment when I'm reading out another one, but yeah, we're trying to go for as many comments as possible, and I think it's a better way to track, you know, for people to track when their comments are being read out, because sometimes, you know, they might not hear when I say it, so I do understand that, and I think this will might help a bit, you know, visual aids and stuff. -4 Tony to Firmino? Yes, I think I would. Martial punt? Yes, I think it's good. It's not my favourite, but I have to say, if you're ever going to punt on Martial, this is the week to do it. I would go for Anderson, Ivan. Martial or Almiron -4? Probably Almiron. 1 free transfer, Wilson to Jesus or Andreas de Gross. I have Trossard. That's a close one. I would do Wilson to Jesus. What do I do if I have Doherty and Dalot? I would probably sell Dalot because you know he's not gonna play, and also he's a bit more expensive. I'm not sure when you bought Dalot though. Maybe you've got a bit more value tied up in him, and so actually he's cost less than Doherty in your case, but I'd sell Dalot if you can. I don't think Doherty starts though. Thank you, Jasabi. I appreciate it. Who would you choose? Saka, Zaha, Kulusevski, Maddison. From those lot, for this week, it would be Zaha. But generally speaking, Saka and Maddison are the best ones for me. Captain Salah, Kane or Haaland? Haaland first, Salah second, Kane third, in my personal opinion. I think Andreas will score. Completely fair enough. Go for him. Start him in your team. Should I sell Foden and pick Nunez -4? I would keep Foden. Your week punt. My punt for this week, I mean, I'll do it by position and then I'll give you an overall one. So in defense, it would be Trent. In midfield, it would probably be... that's a bit of a tough one. Kulusevski would be my punt there. And up front, it would be Nunez. And my overall pick would be Nunez. Foden hold. Yes, I would hold him. Garnacho and Jesus in for Bailey and Lewin for -4. No. Bailey has been in great form. I wouldn't sell him for Garnacho. Jesus in for Lewin, though. Yes, it's worth it. If you have to do Bailey to Garnacho to afford Jesus, then fair enough. But I still would rather just do Martial in for free. And that also answers Harvey's question. Martial. My rank... well, I'm not sure if you're responding to me or someone else, but my rank, you can see on the left-hand corner of your screen, it's 1.2 million. It's awful, I know. And I've got 2 red arrows back-to-back after some progress. I think from Gameweek 9 to 13, maybe, or 12, I was doing really well in terms of my green arrows, and since then it's been poor. Interesting that no source has put out a time yet. We had one 50 minutes before the deadline last week. Still waiting patiently, of course. Yeah, and to be fair, I actually, if you're asking me, I'd rather we don't get the team news, actually. But let's wait and see. Hi, Dylan. Bring in Martial for Mitrovic, but it'll be first bench as cover if Haaland or Foden don't play. I don't really like... Look, it's good to have squad depth. You know, that's... I'm not going to deny that. But if I brought in Martial this week, I'd start him, you know, period. And honestly, my issue with that is that if Haaland and Foden don't start, I think they will come on eventually, like they did in the last game. Justin to Trent, yes, I'd do that if you can. Is this the last game to use wildcard? Yes, exactly. We've got a lot of questions about Garnacho. My thoughts haven't really changed on him. So, look, he had a really good game the other day. He has been impressive for United, but mainly in the cup competitions. He hasn't really done that well in the Premier League yet. Obviously, not that many minutes or opportunities, but still, the point stands. Would I trust him enough against Fulham? I mean, the fixture's there. He's a quality player for his age, and he's got a lot of potential, but I'd rather go to Rashford and Martial. Start Gay or Andreas? I'd go for Gay, but if you fancy Andreas, go for him. Foden to Rashford. I'd probably keep Foden. Ben White in for Castagna or Anderson? In for Castagna this week. No team leaks so far. So just to make it clear for everyone, we haven't got any official confirmation from a reliable source. Thank you, Chu. I appreciate it. Would you do a -4 to get Wilson out? Depends who for. If it's for Nunez, Firmino, or Martial potentially, then yes, I would. Martial or Almiron? Martial's the better fixture, but it's still Almiron for me. Hi, Dylan. Darwin and 4 million defender for Trippier, Mitrovic, both free transfers, and I'd have to start either double Palace defense or one Palace Nico Williams. I would not get rid of Trippier, so my answer is no, Siang, personally. If Wilson will not start, is it good to bench him for Andres Pereira? Then yes, of course. If we do get the news, but I don't think we will because the kickoff is at 5:30. I would be very surprised if we got early team news for Newcastle. Wilson or Solanke? Still Wilson for me. Ahmad, I'm just going to literally show it on screen so you can see all of my bench and Pope starting. That's going to be my answer. It's close though, I have to say, but that is my answer. Pope for me. Gabriel, Martial, or Short and Firmino Nunez? Gabriel and Martial, it's a close one. I'd probably go for Short and Nunez. I think the Liverpool forward sways it. Would you recommend Haaland and Trossard out for Bergkamp and McManaman? No, definitely not. I think Bergkamp and McGovern, to be fair, yeah, maybe 20 years ago I'd have said yes, not now. Any Andreas replacements with 2 million in the bank? Yes. I think there are. Almiron is the standout one. Trossard, I think, might be a bit above that range. But yeah, Almiron for sure. Anderson or Trent, who to start? Come on, mate, you're not going to bench Trent this week. And not in my opinion. Dalot or out for Trent, Perisic for -4? If I had to do one, it would be Trent. -4 though for a defender, not for me. I know you're getting rid of someone who doesn't play, but I'd just rather have Andreas come on. Thanks for the help, Dylan. Maris to start. I think it will be Grealish, Foden, and Haaland, but let's wait and see, because I could be completely wrong about that. Ward or Ramsdale? I'd go for Ramsdale this week. Short or White? Ben White. Perisic, Firmino, Gay, Ward on the bench. Should I bench boost? That's your bench. Who's starting for you? That would be my question. And if you have a really good starting 11, then yes, maybe you could bench boost this week. But I'm looking to save it for a double game week. Yeah, like I said, I put your question up as well earlier. I would go for Almiron. What about Haaland? We have no information about him, but my guess is he starts. And I can't seem to find a way to get out Mitrovic for Darwin, have a really good midfield. Yeah, I get your feeling there, Siang. You don't have to force Nunez in, though. That's going to be important. Don't force him in. If you have a natural way of getting him, do it. Otherwise, don't, in my opinion. Who will start for Paul, Gomez or Konate? I think it will be Konate, but once again, you know, we have no way of knowing. Martinelli, Jesus, Trossard, bench. Well, I mean, that's a bench boostable team if that's what you're asking, but I wouldn't bench them in most cases. Get Perisic in for Dallo or get Ben White and Nunez for a -4. Ben White and Nunez for a -4 is my preference. Yeah. Andreas and Wilson first bench option. I'd rather have Wilson over Andreas Pereira, and you can see it as well on screen. Dallo replacement with 1 million in the bank. I'd go to either Ben White or Konate. Wilson to Jesus looks good for free. I have no problems with it, but for a -4, not so sure. Is Perisic worth a -4? I don't think so. And the reason why is because I think Leeds score. Should I transfer out Foden or bench him for Anderson? I would keep Foden. Wilson to Firmino or Jesus for a -4? Firmino. What's your final transfer for your team? It's not confirmed yet, and if possible, I am waiting for any potential news, and that could also inform my decision. But yeah, I think kind of the main ones for me is Wilson, and I don't think we're going to get that information. Oh, yeah, there you go. What's your... Oh, yeah. I don't know, for some reason, they didn't select this one. Firmino or Wilson to start? Firmino. Thank you, Marco. So he did put up the link. So yeah, 10:45 UK time. That's great. Yeah, that's great. So in 70 minutes time, we are getting the leaked Man City lineup. So there you go. Basically, it's going to be available on Instagram. So yeah, he makes it private. So you know you have to follow him, all that yada 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 business. So yeah, I'm gonna have my phone ready. Jesus Christ. And I'm going to try to be very quick when it comes to this. The site will crash, I think. You know, there's a chance they might have, you know, done a hot fix or something, but I'm not too sure. So thank you, by the way, Marco, for that. I appreciate it. So yeah, it looks like we're going to get the leaked Man City lineup. Let me just, give me a second. Sorry, on my phone, I'm having it ready just so as soon as I get the news, I will let you know. So, yeah. All right, let's go back to your questions. So, yeah, we're getting a leaked lineup very, very soon. By the way, if you haven't already, you know what to do. We're literally just about going to get 100 likes. So, if you haven't already, you know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe for new, all of that good stuff. It really helps out the channel, and it really would help out. So, be sure to do that. And yeah, we'll get the message up on screen as well. So yeah, we're looking to get to 20,000 subscribers. We're very, very close to that milestone. We've made a lot of progress recently, so thank you very much, but we can do more. Martial or Firmino? I'd go for Firmino. It's really close though. Pure Plonker League. Nunez even, Solanke or Nunez? Did you put a question further up or something? Don't think you did. Oh, Solanke or Mitrovic? Yeah, Nunez. Story Dylan, Mitrovic and Wilson to Solanke and Darwin. Yes, I think I would do that, Irish BVB. Should I start Gay or Webster? I'd start Gay. Start Wilson or Andreas? I would go for Wilson personally. Yeah, server might crash, yes. I mean, I'd be surprised if it didn't. I mean, it's possible, but I think it will crash. Would you bring in Nunez and Martial in for Tony and Mitrovic? Yes, I would. Wilson or Firmino? Firmino. Thing is, IG is leaked lineups, the Dark Lord. So if you just type that in, you'll find it. Wilson to Firmino or Mitrovic to Martial, playing Andreas if I transfer Wilson out. It's a close one. I would probably do Mitrovic to Martial. That would be my preference. Use wildcard or not? I mean, you might as well, because you can also build the best team possible for Gameweek 16, and then you don't have to worry about it again. Wilson's situation, we talked about this earlier. We just have no way of knowing if he's going to start or not. He trained all week, but separately from the group, so it's kind of mixed bag. Thank you, Irish PVB, and good luck to you as well. Solanke for Wilson. I probably would keep Wilson. If Foden is bench, would you try to take a -4 for someone or start Andreas? That's a great question. I think I would. Unless you can do Foden to KDB, Salah, or you can maybe go to someone like Zaha even. You know, someone with a really good fixture this week, a reliable kind of 8 million midfielder, then I would probably just avoid the hit. So yeah, it just depends on what you're going to do. You know, which player you're bringing in for Foden for the -4. Solanke or Martial? Martial. Start Trippier and Pope or go for Ward? There's no right or wrong answer here. It's really close between the two, but I'm going for Pope at the moment. Yeah, Yusuf, you always get one wildcard per half of the season. So we have one right now. And then after Gameweek 17, we'll get another one. But what we also get this time round, because of the World Cup, is unlimited transfers. So we, in essence, have 3 wildcards. But it's not like you can, you know, not make any transfers or play a wildcard, so to speak, in Gameweek 17 and then save it into the second half of the season and have 2 wildcards. No. You will have a second wildcard and then you have unlimited transfers in 17, as if we are starting the season all over again from Gameweek 1, starting from scratch. I think Lager is the fixture, and also I think Martial's done really well against Fulham in the past. I remember a few years ago he scored a solo goal, but more importantly, it's because he has been, whenever he's got a minutes in the Premier League, he's done well. My problem with him is the starts and the minutes, and I don't have enough confidence in him to really advocate. I do prefer Firmino and Nunez. I have to say, as a one-week punt, I like the idea of Martial, but I would rather go elsewhere. And I've said this before. Have a 7.5 million for an attacker. Any ideas? You know, from that price and below, I would say Martial, but it is risky, I do admit. Start Almiron on Wilson. Almiron. Mitrovic to Martial or Wilson to Jesus? Mitrovic to Martial, probably. Thoughts on random punt on Pope to Alisson or Gaeta? Alisson. Or just stay with Mitrovic to Martial. I would probably do Mitrovic to Martial, but Pope to Alisson looks pretty good to me. I would probably start Anderson, Daniel. Bowen or Solanke? I would go for Bowen. Saka or Martinelli or Rashford or Bailey? Pick 2. I would pick Saka and Rashford. Mitrovic to Martial or Solanke, or take -4. Bring in Darwin Nunez and Almiron for Foden and Mitrovic. I would probably take the -4. Yeah, I think I would do that. It's actually, no, I'll reconsider, because I think Foden will start. So wait for the news. Wait for the news first. But at the moment, Bestie, I would do the free transfer and bring in Martial. The news at the moment is that he starts, as he's been getting minutes for this match. Yes. And with Ronaldo, we just don't know yet. Well, yeah, Goldhead. Apparently, according to Team News and Ticks, he said he's going to do it. So we're getting the lineups in 11 minutes. Thank you, Daniel. Mitrovic replacements for 6.9 million. Martial for me. I'm just not as confident in Solanke and the others, although they're not bad. Captain Trossard, I mean, go for it. If you have a good feeling about it, I wouldn't captain a Brighton player personally, but then again, maybe don't take my advice, because I captained Cancelo last week, so we all make mistakes. I wouldn't do it, but hopefully it goes well for you if you decide to go through with it. Wilson or Lindelof? Wilson. Start Gay or bring in Konate for a -4? I would just start Gay. There's no need to take a -4 hit. I would go for Ben White Hennock. Best Mitrovic replacement? I think Nunez. If you can't afford him, then I would look towards Firmino, Jesus, or Martial. Wilson to Jesus or Webster to Saliba? I would rather do Webster to Saliba. Is it worth taking a hit to sell Wilson? If you think he doesn't start, then yes, I think it's worth it, for sure. In my situation, would I take a hit to get rid of Wilson? No. Thank you, FPL Diamond, for the shout out. I appreciate it. Let's keep on smashing the like button. We're trying to get to as many likes as possible. It would be greatly appreciated. Right, let's get this up. So yeah, we've got almost 200 people watching. Let's keep on racking up the likes, trying to get to 200 and more. Will Nunez play? Yes, I see no reason for him not to be honest. Captain Kane or Zaha? I would captain Kane. White or Konate? Ben White. Alisson or Lloris? Alisson. Trade out. Okay, I'm going to read this question first because it's selected the other one. Mitrovic and Foden to Nunez and Almiron. No, I would keep Foden. If we get news of Foden being benched, then of course, by all means, I think do those transfers, Siang. Be very quick once we get the league lineup. Trade out Jesus to get Saka in. No. Dunk or Castagna? I would probably go for Castagna this week. Wilson to Darwin for free? Yes. Honestly, if I had the money to do that, well, I do have the money actually. that's incorrect. Basically, if I had enough money to do Mitrovic to Darwin, I would have done it already. With Wilson, it's still a bit trickier, but I would probably do it. Dunk or Wilson for the first 11? Wilson. We're getting a lot of Pope Award questions. We've answered it many times. You can see it on screen. I'm not going to go through that again. Start Gay or Nico Williams? Gay. Captain Nunez or Haaland? Erling Haaland for me all day long. Start Wilson or Solanke? I would go for Wilson. Start Zaha or Martial? Zaha, but honestly, I wouldn't bench any of them. Start White, Gay or Webster? I'd start White. And in the order that you've said it, basically, that's how I would sort out the bench. I have KDB and Kane planning to move Darwin in for Mitrovic. Looks really good to me. Who should I captain? I would go for Salah. Well, that's just the dumbest thing I could have said because you said you have KDB and Kane. I would go for Kane from those two, but it's a really close one. And another key reason why I favour Kevin De Bruyne, or should I say I favour Kane over Kevin De Bruyne, is because I already have Haaland, and also, you know, I definitely wouldn't look to kind of captain and vice-captain players from the same team. It's kind of a tricky one. Maybe in your case you could captain Kevin De Bruyne. I won't lie to you, but I'll go for my gut feeling and say Kane. I'm not going to deviate from that and overcomplicate it. Captain Martial, that's really bold. I'm not sure if I'd do that. Darwin Nunez or Firmino? Nunez. Best Spurs defender? Perisic. Perisic a good shout as he's playing so out the pitch. Yes, look, he is a good shout, but would I take a -4 hit for him? No. Do I expect a clean sheet for Spurs? No. So you're really relying on a attack and return, and I don't think he'll play up front again. He did midweek, but with Kulusevski and Richarlison now back, and with more fitness, I don't think he starts up front. And also with Sessegnon out, I think Perisic plays left wing back, and they don't have another option there, really. Start Solanke or Foden? Foden. But once again, we do get the lineups in literally 7 minutes. Saliba or White? If you can afford it, then Saliba. Better for bonus points. -4 for Mitrovic to Martial. I already have Rashford. I would probably take the plunge, but it's really risky either way. Obviously, Mitrovic is missing out, but you might have someone like Gay or Andreas, someone like that on your bench, and that's fine. Start both Rashford and Martial, yes. Will Firmino play? I believe so. I see no reason why he wouldn't. Okay, what the hell? Why are you playing, dumbass? I'm trying to refresh the page and see if we get the league lineup. At the moment, I don't have access to the page, so if you do see the lineups, any news, then let me know. Perisic or Saliba? I'd go for Saliba. Take Zaha out for Kulusevski? No. What do you think about Martial or Firmino? I prefer Firmino because of the fixture. I also prefer Liverpool's attack. That will be my answer. Bench boost. Oh, Jesus. Sometimes it just picks up the wrong question. Bench boost with Ward, Trippier, Jesus, and Andreas. I mean, Trippier and Jesus is enough already. I mean, that's a decent bench boost. It's completely up to you, mate. I'm just not so sure who you have in your starting 11 because, yeah, that's a really good bench. You know, if you have like really bad players like Nico Williams on the starting 11, I would reconsider. Saliba or White? Saliba. I answered this already. -4 for Webster, out or play him? I just play him. Bench boost, only if you have a really good starting 11 and your bench has players like Trippier, you know, players that you'd never feasibly bench. Gabriel or White? White from those two. Best transfer? Nunez in, up front. In the defense, I'd say Trent or Robertson. And in the midfield, I would probably say someone like Zaha is pretty good as well, Kulusevski. Who should I play instead of Perisic defense or mid, max 7 million? No, I'd start. Look, if I have Perisic, I'd start him, but I wouldn't buy him for a -4 hit. That's basically what I'm saying. So we've got a bit of a different question. Can you tell us about the chips? So the bench boost means everyone on your bench will have their points contributing towards your team, which normally isn't the case, of course, on top of your starting 11. The free hit means you can make unlimited transfers, but the changes are only made for 1 week. So then the following game week, your team reverts back to what was the week beforehand before you play the chip. As for the wildcard, the changes are permanent. And as for the triple captain, instead of your captain's points being doubled, they are tripled instead. So, for example, if Salah gets 10 points as your triple captain, instead of getting 20 points as you normally would as your captain, you would then get 30. So that's as simple as that. Xhaka or Martial? I'd go for Martial. Almiron or Zaha? Almiron. Trossard or Barnes? Trossard. Neves, Rodrigo or McAllister? Rodrigo. That's a thought. Do you think I could build for a bench boost this week? You could potentially, Harry, actually. You've got a good team, but my main concern with you, actually, is not knowing what to do with your transfers rather than, not knowing who to start. Because the only one I would actually start from your team that you said was Wilson, I think. So, yeah, you could bench boost, but I don't think you need to. Solanke to be safe. I'm reading that Martial hasn't been spotted at Team Hotel, but nothing from a major source. But the thing is, though, like, what is the source? Is it someone that's quite reliable, even if it's not a so-called big source? It really just depends. But, yeah, Solanke's the safer option, but I think I would risk it with Martial unless a reliable source says Martial's not in the squad or, he's not going to start. Any Man City news? We're getting it in 3 minutes, mate, so be patient. Will the app break again close to the deadline? I believe so. The app is your best hope, especially if you're on iPhone. Start Doherty or Nico? I don't think Doherty starts. I'd probably go for Nico. When to use bench boost, free hit, triple captain? We covered this earlier. I would literally try to use the majority of these, if not all, later in the season with double and blank game weeks. I wouldn't use it just yet. What about today's chip? I don't think you need to use a chip right now. It just depends on your team, but I don't think you need to. If Foden doesn't start, bring in Wilson or Andreas. I'd bring in Wilson personally. Which striker should I buy with 7.6 million? Martial, in my opinion. Ward or Pickford? I would go for Pickford. Should I use my wildcard this week? Well, you can't use your wildcard afterwards. Your first wildcard will be burned if you don't use it now. So I would personally use it right now. It's completely up to you. Yeah, the wildcard will be expired today, yes. So I'll make that clear. So if you have the wildcard, I'd use it. But in terms of the other chips, you don't need to use it in Game Week 16. Is Wilson starting? We have no idea. My gut feeling is he does, but I could be wrong. Jesus or Nunez? Nunez. Literally, we're getting the news in 2 minutes. Be patient. And I'll try to get you the news as soon as possible, but I'm afraid I'll probably have to rely on other people saying it. Actually, no, I've got access to the page right now, so I'm going to be refreshing, so don't worry. As soon as the post comes out, I will say it, and I'll probably be in a rush to do my own transfers, but I will let you know first, so don't worry. Best defender punt, for me, Trent. Trent would be the best one. Got Amron, Saka, Marcus Martinelli, and Zaha midfield, and Kane and Haaland up front. Looks good. Should I start Martial in place of someone? Honestly, it's okay as it is. You don't need to bring in Martial. If you have Martial, then I would start him, but over who? Maybe a defender if you can, which I'm not sure you can do. My top 11 players for the game week is covered in the best wildcard and free hit team video. The only thing you could feasibly change, and I talked about it in the video, was getting Nunez or Trent in and readjusting a little bit, maybe sacrificing one of the free premiums we talked about. But it's all covered in that video. I would go for Firmino, Do you think Kane gets a full 90 today? This might be one of the odd occasions where he doesn't get a full 90, but I think he gets 70, 80 minutes at the very least. I don't think he's benched, personally. Double Everton defence or start Ward instead of Pickford? I would probably go for Ward. I don't have enough confidence in Everton to double up on them defensively. Bring in Kane for Haaland or roll the transfer? I wouldn't do that. The only way I would do that, the only reason I would, is if Haaland is benched, and we'll find out now. I'm refreshing the page. It is now 10:45. He sometimes takes a bit longer to post it, so we are going to wait and see what we get. The lineup isn't out yet. Wilson to Jesus or Mitrovic to Martial? I would rather do Mitrovic to Martial. Also, did I have a word with Arteta and tell him to play Ben White fullback and Saliba stay back? Well, that is the case. Oh, it's a video, isn't it? Wait, one second. I'm going to mute myself, and it's a video, unfortunately. Yeah, okay, this is yeah, I don't know what this is. Honestly, look, someone watched a video and make out of it. Yeah, look on Twitter. Yes, I will be looking on Twitter. It's literally just a video, and yeah, I don't think there's any information there from what I gathered. If I am wrong, be sure to let me know. I apologize for that, by the way, but I had to. Yeah, basically, I didn't get any information from that. It's just literally a bunch of people saying I'm not starting. Haaland crashed. Is he actually benched? That's the thing. I just couldn't make it out from that video. I would honestly rather just see the a picture. Haaland starts. Okay, fair enough. There you go. Yeah, I honestly didn't get it. I think I started the video a bit later on, so yeah. Honestly, in terms of me watching a video live, it's not the best idea. But yeah, thank you. Apparently, Haaland does start. I will check on Twitter now as well, just to get official confirmation for you. But yeah, it does look like it. Just be patient, though. Be patient. I will try to get this out. Yeah, Haaland and Foden start. Not too surprising, to be fair. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep things as they are. I'm now going to make my final transfer. Hopefully, I'm able to. So for me, it will be either Wilson to Nunez or Mitrovic to Martial or Firmino. And honestly, any 50-50 decision I kind of make this season, it has seemed to go the other way. So I'm kind of second guessing myself. I think my gut feeling is to do Wilson to Nunez, but I have to say, if Wilson is available and starts, I would be quite worried. I think Wilson has a good chance of getting some returns there. But yeah, for those of you with Foden and Haaland, it looks like they are starting. So yeah, apparently it was in the video. I just couldn't make it out. So yeah, apologies for that. I kind of got lost in that. Breaking Haaland starts for Man City, yes. Yeah, I mean, what do you do? Exactly, Harry. This might be the worst case scenario for you. Yeah, I think Cancelo starts. I don't think we got information on that. We got information on Haaland and Foden starting, not necessarily Cancelo. But I'm guessing he starts. I mean, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Is Wilson starting for City at the back? No. Alvarez starts? I don't think so. Based on that information, I don't think so. Andreas start or Webster? I'd go for Andreas. Yep. We just covered that, mate. Would I get 2 free transfers in Gameweek 17? We get unlimited transfers, mate. We don't get... you can't roll over transfer or anything like that. So don't think about that. You just make your transfers, whatever will benefit your team. Even if not making a transfer helps you, do that. But be sure not to roll the transfer over, for the sake of it. We get unlimited transfers, so don't worry. Yeah, KDB should start. We have no information on that, I think, but we should start. Diop or Patterson or Nico, who to start? From those three, it would be Patterson. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we only got information on KDB and, on Haaland and Foden, not KDB. Ben Davis or Dunk? I would go for Ben Davis. Wilson to Darwin for a hit. For a hit, I'd be a bit unsure about. That's the thing. For free, I'd do it. For a hit, it becomes a bit more difficult. I think I'd still go ahead with it, but it's really, really close. Use the wild card? Yes. If you haven't used it already, go ahead with it. So, what do we do now? Wilson to Nunez or Mitrovic to Firmino? Let me know down in the comments. We did put a poll out earlier and we had a winner. But just basically say an answer, Nunez or Firmino in the chat, and I'll see what you guys are saying. But I am looking to make a transfer now. We've literally got 10 minutes left for the deadline. So be sure to get your stuff in because there's still a chance the site crashes. So there you go. For me, Hill, it would be Martial. That would be my answer. What to do with Mahrez? I'd probably sell him. I'm not so sure if he starts. Obviously, I don't think we got the information. Play Shaw or Wilson, Dylan? I would play Wilson. Yes, David, I am all right. What makes you ask? Any news on the entire City team? Foden and Haaland start. Wow, okay, so everyone's saying Firmino, yeah. The thing is with Firmino, I actually have a good feeling about him, but it's kind of a tough one. It could go either way. Yes, so basically the reason why I'm doubting about it is because I could only get Nunez in if I sell Wilson, and I would rather sell Mitrovic, but then I can't afford Nunez, so that's kind of my big dilemma there. No, it would be for free, Daniel. Both of them would be for free. So it would be Wilson to Nunez, or it would be Mitrovic out for Firmino. Wilson or Solanke, who to start? It would be Callum Wilson for me. Would you sell from... Oh, yeah, I just said that. Is KDB starting? Like I said, from the video and from what I've seen on Twitter, I haven't gathered that. It just says Foden and Haaland start, but I'm guessing KDB does start. So, yeah. I don't think we got information on that. Sell Foden for Rashford? No. Foden starting. I wouldn't sell him. Nunez 2 goals, maybe. First bench Gay or Castagna? I would bench... I'd have Gay above Castagna. I sold Wilson and Mitrovic to Nunez and Solanke, bench Webster. Fair enough, Singh. Fair enough. Yeah, it's kind of a tricky one this week. Honestly, the way I see it, whoever I go for, it will be the wrong choice. It's kind of a 50-50 one. It can go either way. I will change now. Hopefully all good. Good luck to all. Yep, there you go, Fingon. Good luck to you as well. We literally have 8 minutes left, so I'm going to be making my transfer right now. Foden to Nunez. No. And either way, does that involve a -4? Which striker are you getting rid of? I wouldn't do that. Some people are saying Cancelo bench might be a troll, not sure. Yeah, be very careful. Be very careful who you get the news from. There's a lot of trolls out there and people looking for clout, so be very careful. Ward or Pope, as I have Trippier already. I'm going for Pope. Going for Ward is completely fine, though. They both have a decent chance of a clean sheet. Ward or Gaeta? I would go for Gaeta. What do we do with Wilson? That's the big question. I might sell him for Nunez, but otherwise I'm keeping him, and I would instead sell Mitrovic to Firmino. So that's kind of my take on it. So I'm going to put a quick poll out right now, see what you guys think. So final transfer. I think it will just come down to this really for me. So it would be Wilson to... Yeah, Wilson to Nunez. I'm just getting the emoji up. And... yeah, Wilson to Nunez. And Mitrovic to... don't know why that was different. That's a bit weird. All right, and then we'll get Firmino in. That is basically my final transfer. And in the case of me getting rid of Mitrovic out for Firmino, I would start Anderson. But if I decide to keep Wilson, I would actually start Wilson. At this point, I have no idea. KDB will start. I think so, mate. We didn't get information on that. Start Gay or bring in Martial for -4. I would start Gay. Yeah, 11 players playing today, yes. Does Martial start? It looks like he does, but honestly, there is a chance Ronaldo's back and available. It is going to be a risky one. Yeah, the poll is close. Yeah, I did expect it to be. To be fair, I mean, it's because getting rid of Wilson, you know, you'd rather get rid of Mitrovic instead because he's officially out. Yeah, let me just deal with spammers. Nunez or Firmino better? My gut feeling over the last few days was Nunez. So that would be maybe my gut feeling. The reason why, for me, it's kind of a tricky one is because I'm getting rid of Wilson, who I'd rather keep than Mitrovic. That's kind of really it. Cheers as well. I appreciate it. The Mitrovic and Alvarez to Haaland captain -4 in the end. Not worth the risk, I think. I want to get a green arrow. Yeah, good luck, Marco. Hopefully it pays off for you. Let's see what happens. Thanks and good luck, Dylan. Thank you, Zaid. I'm going to go for Solanke. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him, but for his price and below, you can't really ask for much more. Ronaldo won't risk when the World Cup is so close. Potentially. What do you think about Kane captain? He's my third favourite this week behind Salah and Haaland. I think he's a good choice. Start Perisic, Eze or Andreas. I would start Perisic from those three. Eze or Cher to start, I would go for Eze. It's like having Salah and De Bruyne, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard in the same midfield. Well, it looks great to me, mate. It looks great, but what do you have up front? That would be my question. Sell Kane to Salah? No. I don't think it's worth it, especially for a -4 hit. I wouldn't do it. So once again, you lot are favouring Nunez once again. I'm guessing that the love is strong there. I have to say it's really close for me. It's really close. Good luck, bro. Thanks for the help. Thank you, Bami Sami. Good luck. Start Gay or Trippier. I would go for Trippier. Good luck to you as well, Chelsea Blues. Dylan, Mason Mount or Rashford? Marcus Rashford right now. Bench Trippier for Perisic? Nope. I'd start Perisic. I'd start Trippier. Sell Saka for Saha? Gracias también, Esteban. No, I would keep Saka. I'm still torn between Pope and Ward on Pope at the moment, but keep switching. I've stuck with Pope all week, but I have considered the other one. Ibrahim, we literally just featured a comment. Come on. Play Trippier or Andreas? I'd go for Trippier. Site crash for me? Yeah, not surprised. I'm not really surprised. Pope or Ward? I would go for Pope. Foden starting? Yes, it looks like it. So, yeah, I'm not surprised if the site crashed again. Jesus Christ. So I'm going to try to get my transfer through. And I think I am going to go for Nunez if I can. That would be great. I think the site's just crashing because everyone's waiting for, the league lineups and stuff, and then they can, make their final decision. So yeah, unfortunately, it looks like the site has crashed again. Wow, what a surprise. So I'm going to try get Darwin in. Let's see if it goes through. So Wilson out for Darwin. Oh, it's gone through. So, okay, the app has worked for me. Thank you, Aussie Adventures. I appreciate your kind words, and it's always a pleasure having you on here. So I have made my transfer through the app. I'm not sure if... Let's actually check this. So my only real cover on the bench now is Andreas Pereira and Doherty, but I don't think he will start. So let's see if I can get this up on screen. Let me see if this website will crash. Is the website crashed? No, the website's fine. I think it would have been worse if Haaland and Foden were benched or something like that. So that is my lineup now. I have made a late transfer. Darwin Nunez has come in. I have to say, it could go either way. And if Firmino gets a big haul, I'm probably going to cry because literally every 50-50 decision this season has gone the other way, it seems. Gayo Andreas, look, you're spamming the chat, but I'm going to forget about that. I will go for Gay. Wilson or Dunk? Wilson. Yeah, De Bruyne starts for Man City versus Brentford. No surprises there. Like I said, the video I think just covered Haaland and Foden, but yeah, it looks like Kevin De Bruyne starts. No surprises there. Okay, good, Raf. That's good. They might have made some hot fixes, but like I said, it's not as bad at the moment because, as we all covered, the good news is that Haaland and Foden start. So I don't think there's a big clamour or as big of a clamour as it would have been otherwise. Yeah, of course, Roy, of course, but I was still thinking about it. It was such a close decision for me. In the end, I've gone for Wilson to Nunez, and honestly, I'm expecting the worst now. Billing or Andreas? Andreas. Castagna or Andreas? I would go for Castagna. Cheers, Nick. KDB benched? No, he is starting, it looks like. As Lager says as well. Trippier or Stupinian, says Sudeep. I'd go for Trippier. Dunk, Andreas, Castagna start 2. I would start Castagna and Andreas. Webster or Andreas? I would go for Andreas. Pope or Ward? You've seen the answer all stream. You know what I think on that. Sold Diaz for a hit. If he starts, I'm going to cry. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance he does, to be fair, Stephen. You know Pep. You know how he is. I hope Martial gets at least 40 minutes. Yeah, but that's not really... It's not what you want to hear, though. You want confidence in him playing 60 or more. 40 isn't really enough. The rumours Cancelo isn't starting. Oh, God almighty. Jesus Christ. I hate Cancelo, if that's true. If that's true, then I don't know what to make of that. Then maybe, looking in hindsight, I would have rather done Firmino in for Mitrovic and have the cover on the bench. Foden playing? Yes, he is starting. Thanks, Jay, as well. I appreciate it. Start Perisic or Wilson? I would start Perisic from those two. But Wilson, yeah. Good luck and like the pop-ups. Thank you, Roy. Haaland not bench, save the server. Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, Marco, you know the answer to that question. I've gone through it a lot of times. Barnes vs West Ham or Almiron? Almiron. Cancelo doesn't strike me as being subbed on. Yeah, that is true. That's the thing. That's why I would have rather, maybe looking back, is start Firmino, have Firmino and Wilson, assuming that Wilson's fine. and then Anderson comes on in the worst case scenario. Yeah, they're just rumours. I hope it's just poor, basically unreliable lineups and all of that. Let's wait and see. But it would not surprise me if Cancelo's going to come back to bite us. Captain Haaland, but still have a feeling Salah will do better. That's the thing, though. I always say this. If you have a feeling someone's going to get more points, just go for them. I know effective ownership can be scary, or you have it into account, but I would try to just captain the player you think will score the most points. Thank you, Hill. Deadline has passed, indeed, superstar. Who would you bench, Wilson, Anderson, or Andreas? Out of those three, I would have benched Andreas. Really close one, though. Andreas is a troll. Good luck, Marco, and to everyone else in the stream. Ten Hag did describe Martial as his ideal forward. Yes, he did, and he has been, getting more minutes recently. But in the Premier League, it still hasn't happened yet, and you've still got Ronaldo looming over your shoulder. Yeah, we are locked in, Kevin. I've already made my transfers anyway, so as you can see, I brought in Darwin Nunez for Callum Wilson. That is all done. Good luck, Shreyan. Thank you very much for your kind words. Gracias por los consejos. Te deseo suerte en tu game week. 6 de la mañana down here. ¿Dónde estás? ¿En Colombia? Oh, muy temprano. Demasiado. Pero gracias y buena suerte para esta jornada. Brought in Wilson last week. Sold him last week for Martial. Yeah, it's kind of a tricky one. I also brought in Wilson. He's been a troll. I had a feeling something could go wrong with him, and in the end, we got the news he was ill. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one. Andreas is good cover. Yes, he is, to be fair. He is. That's a good point. Maybe he will finally get me some points. Thank you, Sally. Zuma first on my bench over Andres and Nico. Thoughts? I don't think West Ham keep a clean sheet. I think Andres would have been better, but honestly, it's not a bad shout. We are locked in. Yeah, let's go, shove it. Thank you very much. Captain Salah, hope that works playing differential this season. If you have a feeling he scores more points, then I have no problem with it. We've always asked this question, always. Okay, in my personal opinion, Messi is the better player. Everyone has their own opinion. Yeah, that's just my take on it. Good luck, mate. Smash it. Thank you, Katir. Good luck to you as well. My team, rate it. Ward, Botman, Trippier, Gay, Martinez, Salah, KDB, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Haaland. Lisandro Martinez, he's not my favourite FPL option. Obviously, he's done well this season. I like the rest of your defence, though, except for Botman and Trippier. Having both of them, I mean, to be fair, maybe I'm being a bit hypocritical because I'm going for Pope and Trippier. With Pope, though, the reason why I like him is the saves and bonus points, which he hasn't gotten for a long time, but I think he still has it in him. With Botman, you really just need the clean sheet, otherwise there's no real points. It's a good team. Look, long story short, you've got Salah, KDB, and Haaland, 3 of the best premiums in the game. You've got Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, really good stuff. And you've got a good team overall, mate. Honestly, I like the look of it. Have to deal with these deadlines every time. Yeah, I mean, I personally think they should move the deadline to kickoff. There's not going to be anything that kind of solves the issue for everyone, but I think this is the least worst case scenario, basically, and the best of all of them. Got Jesus in for Wilson. Do you think he'll finally render? I think so. Yeah, I think it's kind of a tough one with Jesus. It's been such a long time. It would be 10 games in a row if he doesn't score in the next one. Technically, it might already be 10. Yeah, I think he does. Wishful thinking. Good luck, Cylinder, as well. Sold Doherty and Wilson to Gabriel Martial from -4. Just 3 points off the top 10k. Really good stuff. Hopefully all of us get a green arrow. Good luck, Cylinder. Good position to be in. Keep on going. England World Cup predictions. So I need to do like the whole, the guesses. I think in my prediction, England reached the quarterfinal or the round of 6. I think the quarterfinal. That's my prediction. England reached the quarterfinal and then get knocked out. Thank you, Lager. Enjoy the weekend as well. Botman for Patterson then. Says R9. Well, we already locked in. You can't make any changes. The deadline has passed. I took out Foden for Trossard, bench Wilson, started Anderson. Oh, you took out Foden even with the New starts. That's quite big. But good. I like Anderson starting, and Trossard's a really good transfer anyway. I need to start Botman after Justin's injury. He's so unlucky with long-term injuries. Yes, he is. Castagna is the kind of Leicester defender of choice, but he's another one who's been getting a lot of injuries as well. So Nunez did win the poll with 59%, and that's what I ended up going for. I have to say, though, I'm just second-guessing everything I'm doing this season, but yeah, it is what it is. Thank you, Cole, as well. I appreciate it. Thank you, Superstar, as well. Which season do you think is more competitive, this season or last season? That's a tough one to call. It's kind of... We're only in November. You know, we're only 13, 14 games or whatever we are in with the kind of, I think it's 14 now. It's kind of tough to tell. You know, if Arsenal can push City all the way, I'd say this season's a bit more competitive because you've got Newcastle right up there now. They're a force. You've also got Brighton challenging for a European spot. You've got, you know, no game is kind of a set and forget victory. You know, every game is difficult. So yeah, if Arsenal can push City all the way, I'd say this season, but it's too early to tell. Thoughts on Morocco chances in the World Cup? I think you can go through to the next round, but with most African teams, I still think there is a gap in terms of quality. I think Senegal have the best chance of any African team to kind of go to a quarterfinal or something. And obviously, it would be nice to see some of these kind of players playing for European nations to just stick with their their home nations, you know, and stick with African nations and make it more competitive. Morocco have a chance of going through to the next round, but personally, I don't think that will be the case. That's just my opinion. England's squad is hilariously bad. Look, England, I wouldn't say it's hilariously bad. There's some quality players in there, but there are some notable omissions, and in my opinion, England will get knocked out. You know, I don't think they reach the semis or the final, personally. I changed Zaha, I bring in Martinelli. I would have kept Zaha personally, but there you go. Took out Anthony for Kulusevski, fingers crossed. Yeah, good luck, mate. If it backfires, there's not much you can do. Do I start Shaw or Dyer? I would have started Shaw, I think. Any news on if there'll be a World Cup Fantasy app on FIFA Plus app? It just redirects me to the website. There might not be, Marco. There's no news, I think, on this front at the moment. And I think the website's actually crashing at the moment, so I actually can't make any transfers or, you know, do anything, really. I dropped Zaha for Kulusevski. Hope it pays off. Another one. Good luck, mate. Good luck. I'm not so sure about the Zaha move. Pope to Alisson, done. If he had no other transfers to make, looks pretty good. Yes, KDB is starting. Drop Nunez. It's Nunez, mate. Think it'll be a high-scoring week? Maybe. Thank you, Hamza. I took Foden out for Trossard because we did not want to experience the crash again, so now he'll probably get a hat-trick. Yeah, my fear was Foden starting one of these two home games, and of course this happened, and yeah, I'm expecting a big return. Maybe not a hat-trick, but yeah, Gandhi saying hello to the Haaland captaincy. Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst case in the world because most people will captain him. It's not like the Cancelo captaincy last week, unless I've just jinxed it there. Hi, Dylan. I just played bench boost. Your thoughts on the team? Looks really good. It's a decent bench boost as well. It's not the best one, I think, because you've got two defenders in there and you've got Ward and Andreas. It's not the best bench in the world, but it's a decent squad overall, and your starting 11's great. Just one suggestion. It's best you'll pop up a chat while replying. In this case, remove live chat and your suggestions on punts. Yeah, fair enough. That could be something I'm looking at as well. No, I don't think Germany will win the World Cup. They have a chance, they always do, but their squad looks quite weak actually compared to 2014 and, you know, the years gone by. Even 2018, you could argue. I don't think they win the World Cup. Darwin in for Tony, didn't need to do anything else. Good luck. Yep, I think that was a very simple transfer to make. Edouard is doubtful to start. Zaha again might play as a striker. Exactly. I would have kept him personally. And I said this last week as well, unless you did Zaha to, you know, one of these players like Maddison, Foden, Saka, you know, assuming they all start. Thank you, R9. Hopefully you're still top by the end of today and can enjoy being top for a whole World Cup. Yes, and also going into Christmas, you know, that'll be a great feeling. It's been quite a few years, actually, since that was the case, maybe 2016 or 2014. Thoughts, Pope, Cancelo, Castagno, Williams, Saka, Zaha, Salah, Martinelli, Solanke, Haaland, Captain and Wilson. Looks good, mate. You're in a good position. My only concern there, or concerns, would be Williams and Castagno, especially Williams. Let's wait and see what happens with Wilson as well. Yeah, nothing else to do, so did Pope to Alisson. Standard stuff. Good position to be in, mate, and you're looking good for this week. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. Let's hope for a green arrow. Don't want to see a red arrow. Red arrow. So we managed to go how many hours? 2 hours, 12 minutes without a voice crack, and now it's gone all to crap. But yeah, thank you, Sean. I completely agree. Hopefully, no red arrows. I mean, I've had enough of them recently. I did Saka to Foden. Good choice. Quite a weird one. Most people are doing it the other way around. But yes, I think Foden has a better chance of returns than Saka, with Foden starting now. Firmino for DCL, the only Liverpool player I know. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about Firmino now. That's my big concern. Do you think Morocco get a chance against Croatia and Belgium? It's a kind of a decent group. I think Croatia could top it. And I think Croatia will go through, and the same goes for Belgium. It's a tough one to call, but I think it will be, yeah, Croatia and Belgium, and probably Morocco third, if anything. It's quite a close one to call, but yeah, I think Croatia, Belgium. What's your thoughts on Pope, Cancelo, Trippier, Gay, Trossard, Salah, Martinelli, Zaha, Haaland, Nunez, Wilson? My thoughts is that it's a good team. It's as simple as that. Problem with the African teams is we don't see much of them, so you never know who's quality to even take a gamble to put them in your World Cup fantasy team. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is with the African teams, like Senegal for me are the best. Obviously, they won the last African Cup of Nations, and they can cause problems. I mean, I remember Ghana up against the eventual World Cup champions Germany. They gave them a good game, drew 2-2. But I don't know. It's just I still think there is a difference in quality, and also tactically, I think the managers as well. There's a difference in the quality too. Yes, I'm an Arsenal fan. I wish the World Cup final will be between Portugal and Argentina. I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think Portugal will reach it, personally. Portugal have a good team, but their manager's quite poor. Very lucky to win 2016 Euros. They finished third in their group, remember that. You won't get that kind of luxury this time round. I think they will qualify, but Uruguay, I would not be surprised if Uruguay top the group, and then that means Portugal get even tougher run of 16 game. So let's wait and see. Thank you, Dungo. I appreciate it very much. And thank you, Nick, for watching the World Cup content. We've already got 2 videos on the channel, the how to play guide and also the first draft, which obviously will change in the subsequent weeks. My team: Pope, Dunk, Cancelo, Trippier, Anderson, Martinelli, Zaha, Saka, Truss, Haaland, Kane. Yep, looks good to me. Twister Parky, no problems with it whatsoever, actually. Not expecting a clean sheet for Dunk, but honestly, it's a good team. So there we go. That is it. We've covered everything we need to. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We've covered millions of questions today, it seems like. We've highlighted pretty much all of them as well. So thank you very much. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and also become a patron or a channel member. The links are in the description below. And you can also become a FPL League member, all of that stuff. And you can also join the Discord server. There's a lot of stuff in the description, so be sure to check all of that out. And if you have any further questions or comments, be sure to leave it down in the comment section below. It's been a blast. Thank you very much. This is the last stream for FPL, or at least deadline stream, up until Boxing Day. And there could be a reaction stream tomorrow, but after that, it is no more FPL streams for a very long time. So I'll answer a few more questions very quickly. Would be nice to see your whole World Cup predictions on the website in a video. I might do it within a video. I don't think that many people will be interested to see my predictions personally. If it's kind of tacked on to the end of the video, maybe, or a stream, I could do that as well. Have a great day, Marco, too. Thank you very much. Thank you, R9. What about Spain? The thing is, European nations don't look that strong at the moment, but it would not surprise me if they end up winning it. I think France are the best from Europe, but they also have looked disjointed, very inconsistent over the last year or so. Spain, I think they have a really good team in terms of the midfield. They control games really well. They can dominate. They've got a decent defense, but they don't have that finisher. And I think they will have games where they just lack the goal scorer to get them through to the next round. I think Spain could reach the quarterfinals or the semis. I don't see them going to the final or winning it. If that was England winning the Euros in 2016, no one will mention luck. I love how Portuguese are always discarding football. It's not really discarding, it's just my opinion, mate. England as well. England were very lucky in 2018. I've said this many times as well. Portugal have quality players, no one's denying that, but finishing third and then reaching the final and winning it, I mean, in my opinion, it's lucky. It's just down to opinion. Obviously, you're Portuguese. You have a bit of bias there. I'll have a bit of bias towards my own nation. It is what it is. Portugal are a great team, but the coach doesn't live up to the level. I completely agree. I think with a better coach, Portugal could go all the way. I don't think that will be the case with this manager, but you never know. I could be wrong. Portugal could win it. Who knows? They've got the quality in every single area. In terms of squad depth, Portugal probably one of the better teams, but just not convincing, and the results show that as well. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. I'll see you in tomorrow's reaction stream and also for the World Cup fantasy content. Goodbye for now. I'll see you very soon.